I'm alive.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another XGR, the XPound Gaming Radio. And this is our last show before E3 next week, which will be exciting. We'll have almost a week long of specials looking at the different conferences, so stay tuned for that. But
Hey, super special awesome.
Woo. Focusing on today, we're gonna go through 2 bits of news each, and then yes.
Oh, I was going to say, and I believe
Mm-hmm.
we know it's going to be Tuesday, for Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes, those are our
But they will not
hopefully
be at,
final dates.
but they will not be at our scheduled time. Some will be much later, some will be much earlier.
All right. So as we normally do here, we'll go through 2 bits of news each, then catch up with up to 2 games that we played the previous week, and then our topic, which is Hall of Fame nominees, since that was brought up last week of the Videogame Hall of Fame, the first class. So I figured it'd be fun to come up with some nominees of our own and see what we deserve to be in future years. Yes?
Just because it's Hall of Fame, is it wrong if one of my awards is the Leroy Jenkins for any, like, basically people who run in stupidly and die? No?
Yes.
We can't have a Hall of Fame dedicated to a dead person. Oh. I'm not saying he dead, but I assume when he ran in instantly he died. I'm pretty sure that happened. That's what I remember. I don't remember him just overcoming.
That was the less successful sequel.
Yeah.
No, guys, and then I totally came out. No, you didn't, Leroy. But joining me as per usual is Chris, aka the Mole,
And top of the morning to you, laddie.
and Anastasia Laserbeam.
Hello.
So without further ado, let us get into it. So with the first bit of news, take it away, Mole.
Did you say further up who? No. I don't know why that always comes in my head.
I said Boo Earns.
Nice. This news, which is funny because I know Richter got my tweet about this, but news, Microsoft has just announced a new model for Xbox One.
Yeah.
And a price drop for the older one. The new model comes with a 1 terabyte of storage, twice of what the launch model has. It also comes with a new controller that comes with a 3.5mm headset audio jack, and it supports any external USB 3.0 drive. The new model will cost just £349.99. The old model has been reduced to £300 from the press release. From the press release, the updated Xbox One wireless controller includes volume and mute controls on gaming headsets, so fans will have the option to adjust headset volume, mic monitoring, and voice and game balancing through the settings menu on their controller. On their console. In addition to the audio improvements, we fine-tuned bumpers for more consistent performance anywhere along the full surface of the bumper. And fans who currently have an Xbox One will be able to purchase the new controller as a standalone item in black from last summer, as well as the new camouflage design in silver and black. That's not camouflage if it's silver and black. Okay. With Xbox One's special edition Covert Forces wireless controller, which starts to ship in retailers from June 16th. That's June 16th, people. The same day as the Microsoft press conference.
What are the odds?
Woo.
According to my calculation, 5.9 to 1,000.
Oh.
Oh, I just made up a number. But no,
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah, the reason this news stood out to me, as I mentioned to the others, is I just purchased an Xbox One. On the day I purchased it, and I purchased it online, so I've got to wait like 10 days or so for it to be delivered. The day I purchased it and they took the money was the day I then saw a price drop was coming and a 1 terabyte one was coming, and I'm like, no, why? And I made the comment of, fuck you, Microsoft. But I don't mean that in a literal way, like some gamers do with everything, because this tends to happen. I don't give a shit. It's not like when I'm playing on the console the whole time, I'm going to be like, if only I had waited. And it looks pretty fun. I'm looking forward to getting that.
Yay.
that was the end of my news.
All right, so
Yay!
Stacy, your first bit of news?
My first bit of news: Hyrule Warriors headed to 3DS. Yay! Woo! Da 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 da! Shing sparkle sparkle. I liked Hyrule Warriors, and now it's coming to 3DS and portable. Woo!
Which I will say, that looks cool. I just have one major issue with that. Or I find one fault with that news. As we all know, Pew is a big Legend of Zelda fan. I mentioned to her, "Are you going to rebuy that?" And she's like, "Eh." Which I'm not saying that's against her. I feel a lot of Zelda fans are going to be the same way because they probably own a Wii U because Nintendo, they're going to buy the system that they know Legend of Zelda will eventually come out on. Chances are they're already going to own Hyrule Warriors, which means I don't know if they're going to buy that port as much as they're hoping. I feel that's going to be like a downside to the port. But that might just be my perspective.
Although this is a bit of a fuck you to people who actually bought the season pack because a lot of the characters are already on the 3DS one.
I'm gonna make the comment that's not a fuck you.
I mean, it's on like a shittier version, so.
I don't mean that. I mean, whenever a game comes out later for a system, it normally comes with the DLC. That's like saying, oh, if you buy the Borderlands collection on PS4, it's a big fuck you to those that bought the Borderlands on PS3 and had to buy all the season passes. It's not. It just came out late. It's come out so much later now that, they kind of probably also, and also what I said, they probably know people aren't going to buy the season pass twice.
Yeah, but so you get all your characters on there, and yeah, it should be really fun. The graphics actually don't look too much worse than the Wii U one, so I'm actually impressed by that.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the new characters yet. I thought that would have been like the second thing you said.
Well, spoiler alert.
Slow alert.
I thought it would be a nice surprise.
Oh.
But because some people because I told somebody else and they were like, "Well, it's a spoiler, and fuck you." And I'm like,
shows it in the if it shows it in the trailer, it's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler, and it's not a spoiler if it's new characters because Hyrule Warriors. I don't think it's going to be, unless I'm wrong, I don't think it's going to be anyone really important from the story mode. As weren't all of those DLC and in the game anyway. So I don't know how that's spoiling.
Yeah,
okay.
It does. I don't think they'd make new story, but who knows?
Okay, you can play as Ganon and a giant cuckoo.
What? Spoiler?
That's in the Wii U version, though.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Or might I have the wrong thing?
Yes.
I think I clicked the wrong thing.
Okay, Victor, what are the new characters?
Tetra, who's Princess Zelda as a pirate. Yuck. And was it King of the Red Lions or whatever?
Yeah, that's it.
But
okay, I clicked the wrong thing. My bad.
As a dude, not his boat form. Although it looks like he becomes his boat form for some of his moves.
That's cool.
If he becomes a boat form, can Pirate Zelda ride him?
Yep.
You want her to ride her daddy? That's fucked up.
I'm pretty sure Link does. Is that any more fucked up?
Yeah, but at least they're not related.
They are in some states.
It's not riding sexually. It's the equivalent of him giving her a piggyback.
I don't want Zelda inside her daddy, okay? It's wrong.
I didn't say inside, I said riding. You can ride a boat by standing on the deck. That's not inside it. Like I said, it's the equivalent of getting...
He doesn't have a deck.
It's the equivalent of getting like a piggyback.
He doesn't have a deck.
It doesn't even look like he has an under. It looks like he's all deck. It looks like a giant canoe. But,
yeah.
I mean, you played it, so I don't know. But based off the trailer, it looks like you can transfer them to the Wii U version if you get the 3DS one. There's like an arrow. I don't know, there's Japanese writing, but there's like an arrow with the characters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So it like unlocks it. That's really expensive DLC.
Mm-hmm. That is really expensive DLC.
Can you at least share that online so you can be like, hey, I got this cool thing that you don't have and you suck?
That'd be nice. The other thing I worry about in the game is
And thus trophies
Yeah.
were born.
if you because I mean already the like pop in and the frame rate is pretty questionable on the Wii U one, especially 2-player. I can't even imagine like the 3DS one.
That's
Also,
gonna be
I
awkward.
I feel like this should. I know that they won't do this, but I feel like this one should be new 3DS only, just for the because it'd be slightly more processor power or whatever, so it might look a little better, or like not like graphic wise, but like it wouldn't you wouldn't run up to a barren field and then just pop in because it doesn't have the memory to deal with them.
That would also make sense. Plus, it would also help push their new 3DSs.
Yeah. And then Xenoblade wouldn't be so lonely as the only one right now. At the very least, you need a Circle Pad Pro because
Yeah, it's
gotta
gonna be
move the
awkward.
camera. Yeah.
That does sound cool. I didn't know about the new characters, but yeah, when you mentioned one turns into a boat and Zelda's a pirate, I'm like, she has to be able to ride him. Come on.
I assume she did. I didn't play Phantom
She
Hourglass.
she only rode on the on when she was unconscious, and you kind of just picked her up and put her in the boat. So she kind of just lay there like, She doesn't witness being on the boat, but
To be fair, I'm gonna make the comment. It's Hyrule Warriors. It doesn't matter, only because I don't remember a Legend of Zelda game where Zelda has killed 200 or 300 enemies. In fact, I don't remember one where she's killed one.
Wand of Gamelon?
You don't talk about that.
You may be more useless than Peach.
But yeah. So she was only when you had to take her to the place where you get the Master Sword, but she was unconscious at the time.
Gotcha.
And what's a rate button?
No, Link didn't take advantage of her because she
Like-
woke up as soon as they teleported.
Like press X to show disrespect.
There you go. Press X to make the tears come.
Oh, tears won't be the only thing coming.
There we go.
You're welcome, Rick.
I was thinking like press X to make something. Never mind.
Oh,
Nintendo.
that should be fun for casual people who were like, hey, I was going to check that thing out, but now I'm not. I'll pick up this, I guess. That's the people I imagine picking this one up.
It could also be for people that like the reason you got Smash Bros. On 3DS and Wii U.
That's
because
what I think, yeah.
Maybe they want to take the game with them when they're going on the streets or on the bus or on a plane or on a train.
On a boat.
Yeah, on a boat.
On a boat.
But as well as that, some people may also buy that for that reason, but as well as that, to link it up and get all the characters.
That could also be.
See what I did there? Link it up.
Oh.
Haha! I see what you did there. So that was my news.
Insert joke about Link being Zelda here.
Oh, fuck you.
Marcus?
I was filling in for Stacy.
Oh.
That's fuck you, or I don't know. Dude, like in that Monopoly one, he was.
Oh, you watched that?
Yeah, I watched some of that. He started right off the bat. Like, I think you got like a 10. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to beat that. I was like, good God, dude.
Yeah, it's not like there's 11 or 12 exists.
Yeah, it doesn't. So he'll go first. Good Christ.
It really doesn't matter.
Surprised he didn't complain about. What was he, the Battleship?
Yeah.
He'd probably choose that and then complain about it. But anyway,
Can we
I don't
look at
know
a
if-
stupid battleship? Oh, it's so fucking stupid.
There was a complaint before we hit acts when I picked it of, really, you're the car? Literally, wasn't there, Pew, before I started recording, there was a, really, you're the car? And I was like, what's wrong with me being the car?
I want you a car.
Because your face looks like a car.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if you were going to talk about that later. But anyway,
I was not.
okay. But for my first bit of news, saw this. It's tiny, but thought it was kind of cool. They announced a new Tales game, Tales of Berseria, announced for Japan, and all they really had was they showed that they had a female protagonist, and they showed like a conceptual sketch of her, and I was like, oh,
How do you spell whatever you just said?
BER?
Female protagonist?
No, whatever, yeah.
BER
Mm-hmm.
SERIA.
I'm only doing it for the tags.
Oh, okay. Yeah, more Tales games is always good, and people think that they did this in response to what's the Zisteria, whatever the next one is, because there was like one female character, and partway through the game they replace her with a dude, and people are like, "What? Why do you hate women?" And I'm like, "Whoa, they're not Ubisoft here. Calm down." I mean, I think it's kind of weird, but nice. I mean, it's kind of weird to do that, but to be fair, Tales games have a lot of, male and females in them, so I don't necessarily think that they're just like, you know what, forget women, we're going to replace the one in this game. But
we have a female assassin now.
Now.
It took a while.
It did.
I was mad when Sunset Overdrive was like, haha, look, we have female, you could play as girls, and we could put all the options on them. I was like, cool, do you have options for fat people? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, so you're going to be like that? And they're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, I always love that, and I know this is slightly off topic, and I don't mean anything bad by this for anybody listening, but I always find it funny when, like, if a game's all guys, we hear, boo, there should be a female character, which... I'm like, but there wasn't one to begin with. But yeah, if a game's like all female characters, you never once hear a guy go, I want to play as a guy.
That is true.
Well, the people that would say that just are like, oh, I'm not going to play that game.
like, where's Richter's frowning face with, I want cooking, daddy? Because maybe mama's at work, maybe daddy has to cook, huh? How dare you insult my lifestyle? That's never gonna happen.
There's try not to burn down the house, Daddy. That's the other one.
Yeah.
Why, Daddy?
All right, so Mole, your second bit.
Oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd finished.
Oh no, they basically announced a title and showed a picture of the lead character.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
I thought I accidentally interrupted my bad.
No. That was
good.
very limited. I just thought it was cool.
A number of 80s action cartoon icons will soon be joining the fray, and I don't mean the band, in Toy Soldiers War Chest this summer. Wielding
There's
the
a band
power...
called The Fray?
There is. How to
okay.
save a life.
Oh, okay.
Bless you!
Bless you.
How dare you when I was singing?
No, I actually don't like
Maybe
that
she's
song.
allergic to your singing.
Yeah, you ungrateful bitch.
I'm allergic to that song. I don't like that song.
I like that song. That song's awesome. They also did an absolutely awesome version of In the Night, Here I'm Still. Kanye West's one, which never mind. But wielding the power of Grayskull, He-Man and the Heroes of Eternia will be playable army in Ubisoft's tower defense action game, along with G.I. Joe's Duke and a group of his soldiers. Both armies will be armed with unique weapons and feature a number of abilities. Ubisoft promises 2 more licensed armies will be announced at a later date. A number of original armies will be playable in Toy Soldiers, as well, including the cute but deadly Starbright, the tough sci-fi Commander Phantom and her ghost company, the ruthless Dark Lord and World War I General Kaiser. Toy Soldiers War Chest is a tower defense game in which Army of Toy faces off against Army of another toy in an effort to defend their toy box. It will release on PS4, Xbox One and PC this summer in 2 editions. Hall of Fame edition, appropriate with today's topic, which costs $30 and includes all 4 licensed and original armies, while the standard edition will include the 4 original armies, with individual licensed armies available for $5 or all 4 for $15. So yay!
Yay.
I believe Richter was looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, I just saw that announced and I was like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A little animated GIF of like He-Man riding his battle cat.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And when they said 2 other licensed ones, I guessed that it's going to be Transformers, as Ubisoft has an agreement with Hasbro. But then EA also has an agreement with Hasbro on some stuff. So I'm like, oh, Ubisoft used to have an agreement with Hasbro, so I don't know if it would be, you know what I mean? If it would be Transformers or not. But I'm hoping for like Thundercats or Ninja Turtles.
Thundercats.
Yeah, I saw like lots of speculation on the thing. People are like, "Oh man, this," and yeah, there were some. Of course, Transformers would be awesome, but since Activision is making those games, like, who knows? But Thundercats would also be amazing.
Or if it's 80s, how about David Bowie? Huh? With plenty of crotch from Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
You and what army? Just me.
Just me and my
these.
Oh my god, imagine that. David Bowie and his army is all 80s rock bands.
That'd be amazing.
Like, oh my god, it's Freddie Mercury. It's Freddie Mercury jumping on He-Man, knocking him off Battlecat, and then and picking up the sword and throwing it at G.I. Joe. What the fuck am I watching?
There's Black Michael Jackson still.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, like Transformers would be a great choice just because that'd be fucking amazing. Yes. But I don't think, like you said, I hadn't thought about Activision making their games.
Yeah, who knows though? It might be allowed because I don't know who makes the mobile game. Not the canceled one. There's like a mobile card one.
That's also true. Like,
but I don't know who makes it. So
they may also get away with it due to the fact it's technically not them as such, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like EA makes Simpson games, but the Simpsons are still appearing in Lego Dimensions because it's DLC pack.
Right.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And if it's multiplayer, Rick,
are
we gonna play each other? Especially if it's Transformers, because I know Rick would want to be all the Autobots and Decepticons.
Probably, yeah.
Yay. But that was the end of my news.
Yay. Okay, Stacy, your second bit.
My second bit of news is
Here we go.
Super Meat Boy. So Super Meat Boy is coming to PS4 and Vita.
Oh, he is offensive to my vegan lifestyle.
Yeah.
And not only that, here's the bonus. It's totally free for PlayStation Plus people. Woo!
Oh wow, really?
Woo!
Yeah. Was 3 free and it was a cross-buy thing, or are they just making that free?
It just says Super Meat Boy is free.
Oh, okay.
That could be awesome.
And it's the cross-buy thing.
It's always nice to have free games.
Yeah. So I love Super Meat Boy, so it's pretty sweet. I have it already on Steam, but you can bet I'm totally gonna get it again on the PS4.
Of course you will. It's free.
No, but I mean, like, I would have paid for it if it wasn't free. But the fact that I'm getting it free.
Somebody on Steam buying a game when it first comes out? This does not add up. And I'm kidding just because I know Pew does do that.
Yeah, so all your super fun, jumping, action-y awesomeness.
Nice.
And hilarious deaths because you suck. And I'm not saying that anybody sucks more than me, because I'm going to say I probably suck the most, but a lot of other people also do suck. Like in that game, I die like all the fucking time.
Rick does beat every Super Meat game going with one hand.
Yeah, when you started with he's beat every Super Meat, I knew it was going to end well.
That wasn't meant as a euphemism.
Oh.
I was just imagining you with a control pad in one hand, holding like a kid in the other hand while still gaming.
I had to do that with some games. one of
I
my
thought you were gonna say like Rick had super meat.
yeah, I fed it a mega mushroom.
Like he was like the inspiration for the games.
Would that happen if you fucked a mega mushroom?
Why isn't the mushroom itself bigger? Is it a symbiotic thing?
Yeah.
Chemical reaction inside of Mario. You mix it with meatballs or something.
Maybe it is bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
Oh.
Maybe it just started as a really tiny mushroom.
That could be. That could be. I hadn't thought of that. They're gigantic elves. I just see normal-sized people. I know, but they're gigantic for elves.
Yeah. Can't remember what that was on. I can't remember what that was on, but that was awesome.
Wasn't it like South Park or something?
We'll mention that later. It's just
Ooh.
a preview. All right, so is that it for your...
That is it for my news.
Okay.
There's Super Meat Boy for all PS Plus.
Meat for everybody?
Meat for everybody, except for Richter, because no meat can compare, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
Again, that's offensive against my vegan lifestyle. I'm going to keep protesting until we get Super Tofu Boy.
Hey, you should take that up with Wife Blade.
Didn't they make that, actually?
I'm not sure.
Also, if that offended your vegan lifestyle, good.
How dare you? And I'm kidding, I would never be vegan.
I know. There's
Well,
like
my
very few
coworkers
things
are.
in the world that offend me. That's one of them. I'm vegan. Get out of my house.
Yeah, I've mentioned before now, this is just slightly off topic. I have no problem with vegetarians and vegans. However, I hate it when they show up somewhere, like at your house or something like that, and then they say, "Oh, you didn't make me a meal that wasn't was for vegans," and I'm like, "What the hell? If I show up at your house, I can't turn around and go, oh, you didn't make me a meal that wasn't for pussies."
I know, right?
And it's like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
hate
like-
my workplace, because we always have to have vegan options all the time, because half the department's vegan.
Yes, but that's a workplace. You should have them if they don't eat meat. They should have options. Like if people are allergic to nuts, you should have option for not nuts a work environment. That makes perfect sense. However, if you go to someone else's home to then complain that they didn't already have food in for your vegan lifestyle is fucking dickish.
Well, see, if they want to eat like grass and stuff, I'm fine with that. Just don't be preaching to me like that I need to do it.
Oh, they're not preachy at all. They're cool like that.
I know, but I'm just in general. And
I've known
don't fucking and I hate it too when they're just like oh, meat is murder. Like, shut up! I'm eating a hamburger. Like, don't get in my face because I choose to do it, and I won't get in yours. And don't try to convert me. And then we're fine. That's fine. You can go over there and graze, and I'll over here and eat something like that I killed, or maybe not.
You go graze.
Yeah. You gather, I'll hunt. There we go.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Which, yeah, like I said, I've had that before now where people have complained about that type of stuff, and I've been like, what the hell? I've also had people preach to me before, like, we would ironically talking about something similar just before this began, of people saying to me, like, right, I'm about to eat a hot dog. I've had people go to me, if you knew how that was made, you'd never eat another hot dog.
Yeah.
And I've been like, well, it's made, and I tell them exactly how it's made, and like, wait, you know how it's made? Yep, and I just keep eating it.
Yeah, nice.
And they're like, what the hell? Why can you still eat that after all the horror that they put them through? And I'm like, well, okay, they may have put them through horror, but it doesn't taste like horror. It tastes nice.
If you don't eat it, you're letting their sacrifice go to waste.
Yeah, that's just the thing.
They're torturing them for nothing if you're not going to
Anything,
eat it.
it's me like torturing my friend Melissa. I'm like, what do you got? Is that some tofu meat, or like? She's like, I have a meat flavored blah blah blah, or I have like chicken flavored, like this, because she's always got like some version of like it tastes like meat. And it's so funny. I always say the thing that Mo says: if you want to eat the taste of meat, why don't you just eat meat then?
Yeah.
Because he's like, I have chicken flavored tofu leaves, or like, and things like that, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's like what if you believe in reincarnation? Maybe eating all of these cows is because one of them could be Cow Jesus who died for their sins. And you have to eat the body of the Lord. That's why in church they give you those teeny tiny little crackers, but no cheese and ham for them. And they frown if you ask for cheese and ham.
Don't forget the grape juice for his blood, because that's not weird or anything.
Yeah,
That's his
Come,
blood. He
enjoy
must
our
be drunk all
cannibalism.
the time.
Symbolic cannibalism.
yeah, that's weird. With like, his body's made of crackers and his blood is made of wine. Kill it with fire. That's an unholy abomination. That's like tofu from Resident Evil come back. We're getting really off topic here and just insulting vegans, Christians, and a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, luckily we haven't offended everyone, yeah.
Yeah, if I do the third one, I get a trophy. No, I don't know. Offensive bingo.
That's simple. When next time Pew keys up, just go, shh, the guys are talking, and watch as all the feminazis jump on our video and we get like 1 million views. That would totally work.
And 6,000 dislikes.
It doesn't matter if they're disliking it as long as they're watching it. Most people hated the Jersey Shore and Big Brother, but yet it's still oddly on because of all the people watching it.
I was more making fun of the fact that we'd have 1 million views and 6,000 dislikes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because you'll see that and you see like a video and it has like 4 million views and it's like 10,000 people liked it, and I'm like, the rest are just like, that was okay, and then it's just kind of weird to me sometimes that there can be such a huge disconnect between those things.
Oh, between how many like and dislike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll admit, one guy watching it like 1,000 times and he can only vote once, or
yeah. I'll also admit I've done that on some YouTube videos where I've watched it and I just not liked or clicked like or dislike because I'm like, I can't be bothered signing into YouTube to do this.
Yeah, I honestly don't click like that often, but it's
yeah,
funny that there's so many people like that. Yeah,
it's like when when I stream, I always find it weird. And when you have like say like 10 people in your stream or however many people you have in your stream, and yet only one's typing, and I'm like, why is no one else typing? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everyone should be interactive and typing and shit, but if you're watching it and the person's like, hey to the people who just joined, just type hi.
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching someone stream, I try to type to people, even if it's no one in here. I at least try to type to them because they're reading the comments. They want the interactivity.
Yeah. What like I don't know, a few of the streams I've seen, they have like over 1,000 people, so I'm like, I don't need to say hi if I because there's so many people. It's like, yeah, they're not even gonna notice. I will comment on stuff, but I don't. They have enough people there that they're not going to be like, wait a minute, I've only had 200 people say hi. I'm shutting this down, and then let's the other 800 say hi, which would be funny.
Yeah, I could see that. What I like to do when I'm doing my stream, which you may have noticed, is if I see like the numbers go up, I will eventually say, hi to the people who just joined, so they feel like I know they're there. Which I shouldn't, but it just annoys me when you got like a load of people in your stream, and it's like, just Pew typing, or just one person you see regularly in there typing, which does work, and I do like that person for doing that. Like he did join our Monopoly stream because I see him often. He's favorited me and stuff. It's like a great connection. Yeah. But I'm like, why when people watch it do they just go, nah, I'm not even gonna fucking bother saying hi or typing or saying I like this game, I don't like this game, you're playing it wrong. What the fuck?
Well, the one that bothered me was when you did one of the Warriors games, and like only during battle would comments show up, like because there's me and another guy that were talking like to you sometimes, but it wouldn't until we figured out that it wasn't displaying those messages. We were like answering questions, or telling you stuff, but it was during a time where it wouldn't display it on your screen. So it'd be in the chat, but it would not be on the one that displayed. I'm like, what the hell? Like I don't even know why it did that. This weird thing.
But
anyway.
I believe it's Richter's last bit of news.
Yes. My last little bit of news. Got this press release here that superbeat xonic, or I don't know, it starts with an X from the 90s. No, I'm kidding. Which is kind of like almost a spiritual successor to DJ Max Fever. They announced that it's coming to the PlayStation Vita in the U.S. North American market. Yeah, I just killed Jim. Hopefully he's not driving, in both physical and digital formats, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, like I played one of those games and I was really terrible at it. But yes,
I have to say that's not fair. When I say oh fuck people that like peanut butter or something like that, or I don't like peanut butter, you're like, well that's not fair because I like peanut butter. Well, I like Jim dying and crashing his car hardly. How dare you? Double standards. Say it with me. We want Jim to die in a car crash. It's the only way we'll.
I was trying to be polite to Jim. Oh yeah, he's not gonna listen. If he dies in a car crash, that's his fault.
We'll just find out if he comes back from the ashes.
That's true. If he dies, he dies.
And I was just joking with that, but
can you imagine that? Like, Marcus eventually is just like, you know what? And just shoots him. And he's like, let's see if you come back. And he's just staring there, like, genuinely he thinks it might happen. Cops are arresting him. Wait, but I can't watch from the jail.
And that's when Jim's like, but have you seen our videos? They get hardly any views. I'm not famous. And Mark's like, wait, no. And he just self-destructs because he's used his power wrong.
I think he implodes. He, like, collapses upon himself. Like the fucking house from
Simpsons?
Yes. They were referencing something. I'm trying to remember which one. But yeah,
I assume it was a film like House or something along those lines.
Yeah. But yeah, like that. So that picture happens. He just goes, goddamn target.
Yeah. But
so
you were saying more.
Yeah. Oh, it's both physical and digital. It's coming out in the fall for North America on the Vita. So yeah, I played DJ Max Fever and I was pretty terrible at it, but we'll see how this one is. It wasn't bad. I was just really not good at it.
What type of game was that?
It's like one of those rhythm games. So
Parappa?
Yeah, kind of like Parappa or maybe Amplitude. I think that was like that. Or like Rock Band without instruments, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, when you said the name in my head, I was thinking it was either like Para, the rapper style game, or it was like Jet Set Radio.
I'm also pretty bad at that game. Jet Set.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I like Jet Set. So yeah, the mouthful of smoke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm just not very good at it.
I wasn't that good at Jet Set or Choo Choo Rocket or any of the other games I bought all at once when I got my Dreamcast. Except for Sonic, I kicked ass at Sonic. I mastered that. I learned to master that game.
Nice. So on to our catch-up section where we talk about up to 2 games that we've played over the previous week. So, Mole, why don't you take it away?
First up, I played Battlefield Hardline. Whoa! I think I mentioned again. And I can't remember if I mentioned this last week or not, but since I swapped to Enforcer, I am much better. I swapped to Enforcer, and I've even been on the end game scoreboard thing. It's not quite a leaderboard, but you know what I mean. I've been number 1, which surprises me like fuck, because I know when it comes to shooters, my goal is just to say, woohoo, I'm not last. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
My goal is not to say woohoo, I'm top. My goal is to say woohoo, I'm not last. So the fact I've been coming first has made me go, what?
A lot of times if I'm like higher up, I'm like, what is wrong with everybody else?
Yeah,
that's very good.
That's how I think.
Yeah, like I was playing, like when I played Titanfall with my friend, I was like, wow, I'm number 1 on the leaderboard. He's like, yeah? Why are you surprised? I'm like, because I'm not good at these games. He's like, but it's got a mech suit. I'm like, that shouldn't matter. I was pretty bad at the other type, like the other match type. He's like, I don't know.
Nice, which means eventually when I get my Xbox One with Titanfall coming soon, I'll be able to play Rick then get completely owned.
Well, we could be on the same team. I'd rather do that.
Oh, well,
I really want to.
Well, yeah, but I can still feel bad about Victor's first and I'm like bottom.
I don't think I'd be first. I think that was a fluke. I don't know.
I think it's a fluke. Now, does Titanfall use Kinect? And if I start to do the Dragon Zord music, will my mech suit rise up?
It should.
Closer.
That would be awesome.
It's bad that I know that tune. When I was young, I used to be able to do that tune on the piano
Nice.
and on the keyboard, and that was it. My music teacher in school went mental at the fact I was able to do that, and I was like, "How did you do that?" I was like, "I learned this song. How?" Well, I heard on TV, I kept doing it until it sounded like it and stuff, and they're like, "Okay, why aren't you doing the song in front of you, which was like Twinkle Twinkle?" I'm like, I can't do that. It's like some code. No. And they're like, "Just do the song." I squandered my musical gift. It's not really a gift.
Twinkle Twinkle is not nearly as awesome as like the Dragon Sword.
I thought you were about to say Twinkle Twinkle is not nearly as awesome as Bar Bar Black Sheep, which I was about to scream at you. It's the same tune.
Oh no.
I'm not sure if you guys have ever noticed that.
Yeah.
I want to know which one came first.
The chicken. I don't.
We need a Billy Hatchet sequel.
Maybe next week.
Yay. But yeah, sorry, my other game was Elder Scrolls Online, which I played with Pew, which I know she's going to talk about too,
Woo!
which will segue brilliantly into a crossover period to help ease Richter into this transition. But I've been enjoying the Elder Scrolls Online. I mentioned to Pew, in my opinion, and I know not everyone's going to say this, but in my opinion, it's better than WoW. Because I mentioned with World of Warcraft, by level 5, I was bored shitless of this game, and it just felt boring and endless.
I
With
do
this
like
game,
how much more free it is. Like I feel like I can do a lot more things and interact with a lot more things.
yeah. And with this game, while I'm doing it, I'm just having fun. I'm now like I think I'm like a level 7 or 8 now, and I'm just enjoying it. I even did something on MMOs I don't enjoy doing, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
I crafted. I made myself a spiffy pair of gloves, some shoes, and some shoulders. I also found something cool, Pew.
Yeah.
Which you may or may not. You've probably already discovered this. I didn't know this until I did it with my item. You know the torso bit? When I had that robe, my robe now looks different to your robe.
Oh, the dying thing?
I didn't die. I
Oh,
mean, I didn't dye the clothes before people think I touched that and got killed. If you go over to the clothes, you can morph it into Imperial style.
Oh yeah.
And I did that. And I went into Imperial. I'm like, cool. I have a different clothes style than anyone else. It's like, but the warning, this binds you to your character, so you can never trade it with anyone. I'm like, it's a low down level. Who gives a shit? Imperial it. But I also got a little pet I called Chomper Rick, because he looks like a little T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one from Land Before Time. 2. I shouldn't know that, but yeah, Land Before Time 2, Chomper, so I named him that. But I also have a horse, and it's a white horse, so I named him Lightning because he goes fast. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I would name him Shadowfax.
Yeah.
But Marcus, he spent a super long time not only naming his horse something that would be canon with the universe, but also had to find the correct picture so he could make his face that no one's gonna really spend that much time looking at, exactly like this particular character of something.
Well, let me. I need clarification because this sounds very incorrect. He wanted to name something that was in line with the universe.
Yeah, the horse.
What? That's not like him. Usually he's like, "Oh, it's a horse. You know what horse I liked?" And then he just puts that name in.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
if he gets a
forever
little
looking at
bird, it's always Laserbeak, just because that's the only one he knows. He never does what you described. I'm calling shenanigans.
Yeah, or like the character's always like Astromeda because Power Rangers.
I'm telling you, because we were making a character, and I made my character in 5 seconds, and I'm like, where the fuck are you? Why are you taking so long to make your character? He's like, I'm looking for this one thing, or looking for this name, and looking for this thing, and I'm like, just make your stupid fucking character.
Which I will say, I do like the fact he was dedicated to it.
That's cool, but like,
I will say on
you
the
went
flip
kinda
side,
insane.
I will say on the flip side, there is no canon names for this universe because every game almost you've been able to name and create your own characters and stuff anyway. So like everything's really canon. At least that's how I feel with a game like this. But I don't know if Rick would agree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
also-
imagine that there's some limitations, like you can't name him like Taco Lover or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like with
does
my name,
seem-
my horse Lightning.
Yeah.
It's because A, he makes me go faster, and B, I use sparks as magic. I use like lightning, so I'm like, fuck it, my horse is Lightning.
Lightning McQueen?
Yes.
No, that's gonna be my second horse. Because Lightning 2 has been taken.
And then he got super pissed off because the loot is somewhat randomly generated because I got this recipe for cocoa or whatever. He's like, I didn't get a recipe for cocoa, I got a recipe for like nutmeg. This is bullshit. And like I'm like, who gives a shit? It's a recipe you're never gonna like can use anyway.
To be fair, that's how some loot is in games. Like, oh, I got cool gloves, I got cool boots, I got cool arms, I got cool chest. I don't see why you would complain of that. A load of MMOs have done that, I feel.
Well, he plays a lot of MMOs. He should be used to that by now. But I think his problem is he's not paying respects to Bullshitos, the god of random number generators. Mm-hmm. So he's just getting punished. He's just got to respect that he's not gonna win all the time. Not gonna get the good stuff.
It's like I said to Pew when we were playing. Pew was like, how come you have no shoes and no hands and stuff? And I'm like, literally all I've got, to the point I managed to fill up my inventory at one point, was I kept finding pants.
I couldn't believe it that he had no pants whatsoever, or like no cuffs no cuffs or like shoes or anything, and that's crazy. Like, but like,
I was hoping he would be like, "'Cause I'm homeless."
Yeah, but I was like, no. I was like, I haven't found them. Every time I find clothing anywhere, and I've chose not to do the stealing as often because I want to be an upstanding citizen, so I choose not to do the stealing. But which is fine, and I have no problem if people do the stealing. I kind of like the idea of just because you can steal, you don't. It makes it more like real life. Where it's like, well, I can go into a shop and put something in my pocket and walk out, and I may or may not be caught, but that doesn't mean I will, if that makes sense. So I kind of like that moral stuff. But yeah, I kept finding iron, whatever the hell they were, iron pants, basically, which were worse than the pants I had. So, but when I learned crafting of clothes, I made myself gloves, shoes, shoulders, and a sash that goes around my waist.
Nice.
I look pretty. Man pretty, as my Twitter post said.
You look man pretty.
I also made my character fat, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean I made him fat, Rick. I mean I made him fat, comma, Rick. In case you took offense, what do you mean you made fat, Rick? That's
well, you know how you're not fat. I made a fat version of you. You should take it as a compliment that I wanted to kind of sort of look like you.
I don't think the slider goes that high to make a fatter version of me.
I don't know. One of the slider options is Maury Povich has to remove the side of the house to get this guy onto his show to exploit him for laughs and profit. I'm kidding. But no, I made my gut as big as I could and stuff. Like, I do look fat. And I was like, yeah, got to make myself fat like I am in real life. Yay! Which I know that's not a big thing, but it always amuses me on games where it's like you can create someone like yourself. And like sort of like what we touched upon before, but I don't see as many people running around as fat people, despite the fact you can make them. And it's like when I make my wrestler character, I always make him fat. Because I'm fat, and I'm like, well, I want to make him me. Whereas I've seen other fat people, I'm not going to mention names, who make their CAWs and stuff look really muscular.
Hi.
No, you looked fattish on the last.
I usually make them. Yeah, I try to keep them somewhat fat. Well, I like with wrestling games, I always try to make them fat, and then I put the shirt on them. Because sometimes like the shirts are all puffy and it makes me look like way too big, so then I scale it down so it looks right with the clothes. But if you like, this sounds weird, but if you take all my clothes off, then it's like that's not what you look like. Well, no, but with the clothes on, that's what I look like.
Yeah.
I don't know why their shirts are 3 inches thick on every side, but whatever.
Yeah, I make myself fat, and then sometimes I do put the baggy shirts and stuff, and I'm like, it's like if I'm wearing a baggy shirt in real life, it's really huge.
Yeah.
No, and I'm wearing like 10 of them. But I'm wearing everything you own.
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Yeah, but okay, I will mention names. Marcus, I've noticed in the past couple of games, it wasn't quite as bad this time, but in the last couple, there was no difference between him and James in terms of body shape when they were stood next to each other. And I'm like, that shouldn't be.
He's a broomstick.
I don't mean any offense by that, but one's, shall we say, overweight, and one is, shall we say, really underweight.
Oh my god, somebody please draw fan art of them with the Kai earrings. I want to see the fusion.
Yeah, they both look like failed fusion dancers.
Yes. Oh man. Is it GT Vegeta when he had the stash? Is that the one that made Jim?
Yes, it is.
Oh man.
And Yajirobe and Krillin made. But we're terrible people. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was my.
I've made peace with that though.
Yeah, that was my 2. Over to Pew for her other one.
Yep.
I also finished Knights of the Old Republic. That's fun.
Which ending?
Kind of like the best ending possible. Good ending.
The fact you said that implies you looked it up before you got the ending.
I did look it up.
I feel like it was either that or she got an ending and was just like she didn't know which one, so she was BSing her way through it.
Oh,
Kind of like the best one you could get.
yeah.
Like,
This motherfucking best ending. God
Because
damn it.
I'm just picturing you saying that like Napoleon Dynamite. Oh, just like kind of the best one ever.
Like, seriously, my ending is like way better than anybody else's.
I love
mean,
that
come
film.
on.
I really did love that film.
Although I talked to my friend Cody, and he says none of it was in canon because I made my character a female, and when other games ever reference it, they completely talk about some other character that was completely unlike mine.
And you
Like,
need
it
to turn.
wasn't even,
You need to turn and look at him and go, no, none of it's canon because it's been sold to the mouse. Get the fuck over it. My character is as canon as yours. Fuck off.
Well,
It's true.
there was a lot of aggression there.
Disney literally erased the Old Republic, Pew.
Yep.
It's no longer canon. Which means he's slightly taking the piss about the fact your character isn't canon to something that's not canon.
It's not canon to the not canon. It's not canon. By the way, it's not canon.
But you could always make the case as well that when they refer to Revan and stuff in the other games as you, and they say he, it could be just the fact, like the Samus situation. Maybe you were wearing armor at a certain point that people mistaked and assumed you were a guy. Well, I have no problem with that.
But it was fun, you know.
Yeah, I loved
enjoyed
it.
it.
I loved Knights of the Old Republic. That game's fucking awesome. I would recommend the second game, Pew, but I've played it.
Cody said it was just okay. It wasn't terrible.
It was as okay as Alien Colonel Marines. It was as
That
okay as
sounds
Duke
odd.
Nukem Forever.
Yeah, it sounds disappointing.
I'm sorry, that might just be me. I hated the second game. It did not feel anything like the first game, and I'm not going to say how in case Pew plays it, but the ending is just sort of like getting halfway through a book and someone just slams it shut and you goes, it's over, go. That might just be me, Rick. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like the worst thing ever. It's not as good at all as the first one, but I don't think it's like. Well, we've had this discussion before. Basically, the way you feel about KOTOR 1 and 2 is how I feel about Mass Effect 1 and 2. So I definitely understand your point of view. I don't think it's as bad as you do, but it's definitely not as good as the first one.
Yeah, I will admit with the second game, it's not as broken as Duke Nukem Forever or Alien Colonel Marines, The only reason, like I said, I don't like it. I really fucking hate that game. But I think part of the reason is because I just loved the first one so much. Like that's probably one of, if not my favorite video game of all time. And it's like the second one is just so not that.
I do have a complaint though, and this is nothing with the game. It's with Jedi's. The Jedi code or the light side code or whatever the fucking thing's called, it doesn't make any sense. It's shit. And the dark side code, that makes sense and it flows nice like a sentence. Like the light side code is like a bunch of random words strung together. And like the dark side code, it's so fluent.
Flows nice like a sentence sounds like a rap lyric.
It does. It flows nice. It's like this equals this because it does, because it makes sense. Hey, like this soda can equals my keyboard because Jedi. And then like, it's like, what? Like it's like power equals like something which equals victory, and it's like I can see how those things would be related. Like one of these things doesn't belong. It's like
the Jedi code does make sense.
I don't like it. It doesn't flow. It's just like, you're reaching here.
So's the other side.
Nuh-uh, the other side flows nice and smooth and it makes sense.
Yeah, but the other side's also reaching.
No way, it totally makes sense. I can see where it would go from here to here to here. The Jedi one was like, yeah, I guess. What? No? Like, what? Okay, I got it by trial and error. Okay, we're done. Like, I could easily get because I didn't know either, going into it, I could easily get the dark side one like that. I didn't need to, do trial and error, because it just flowed. I knew it was coming next because it made sense. With the light side, I'm like...
naturally evil. That's
yeah,
what the
Jedi one is all about basically finding
having
balance.
no emotion and being a boring idiot and just,
having no emotion. Part of it actually says emotion, yet peace. That basically means you have your emotions, yet you're at peace and not a slave to your emotions.
Nah, it more seems like you have no emotions and you're at peace because you don't have to feel.
It literally says emotion, yet peace.
Yeah, but a lot of the Jedis don't express it, so that means emotions, lack thereof. Like, they forgot to put that in there. Because a lot of the Jedis don't show emotion.
Yes, because they're not a slave to their emotion, because when they get act too emotionally, they basically end up going to the dark side more.
But good emotion can be just as good as bad emotion, or as bad.
It can be, but that's the thing. It's like with the Sith side, it's always been about giving into your emotions and just giving into your emotions to get power and stuff, which isn't always a good thing either. Whereas the other side, it's always about trying to basically having emotions, yet trying to keep them under wrap, and basically thinking about things in a scientific, logical explanation instead of always following your heart necessarily, which isn't always a good thing either. Both are equally valid.
I don't know. I could just see why a lot of people would turn to the dark side after hearing all that. It's like, fuck this. It just feels very restrictive, and it's just like, eh.
Yes, it's restrictive because it's good. It's like laws. Laws are restricted, but people break the law all the time.
Well, you know what? They're no fun. I really like Jolie. He's cool. He's like, you're not gonna freaking go light side on me. It's like, yeah, you're my buddy. He's cool. He's where it's at.
Awesome. All right. So is that all about KOTOR?
Oh, and I got disappointed with HK47 just because if you don't have a lot of science or repair skill or whatever it is, he doesn't talk that much.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that. So I got all hyped up and I felt like I got let down because I didn't level up a whole lot of repair or something.
Wait, a robot is only as good as how you repair him?
Shut up, okay? No one warned me. that I had a lot of repair skill to get dialogue from him.
I believe Richter said that exact thing last week.
Well, yeah, but it was like too late by then.
It's never too late to grind.
Ugh.
See, I remember what Rick says.
How about a big old pile of nope?
Rick is like a big, wise sage. We should all follow his advice.
Okay.
Hey, I'm validating you. I'm not ignoring you like Jim.
I know, right?
That's why I sometimes have to over-validate Rick to balance it.
Balancing the force.
Yeah, because I'm worried with how often Jim and stuff disvalue you on your own shows and stuff too. But if I don't validate you, you're going to get a complex of, wait, what? Sort of like Kyle on South Park where he questions, wait, do I even exist? Do I even matter? And just vanishes into nothing. But it's time for games Richter's played.
Yeah.
Have we heard of them?
Yeah, if you haven't heard of one of them, then you're not Stacy, but yes.
But then who am I? Do I exist? Oh no! Ah!
I love it when a plan comes together now. First one I'll mention is EDF 2025, because I don't remember why, but like my son wanted to play that, and I was like, yeah, sure, fine. So I was playing that with him some. If anyone that hasn't played that, you should. It's
I would, but I haven't played the other 2024.
Well, then this is a good place to start. But yeah, it's one of those. It's like totally low budget, but who cares? Because it's fun. Like really simple third-person shooter where you just shoot like giant ants and spiders and spaceships and robots and stuff like B-movie villains. Yeah, like it's awesome. Like the plot is like aliens came from outer space and mutated insects, and you just shoot them. Like, and there's 4 different classes. It's like it's not the height of storytelling. It's not the height of gameplay, but it's really fun. And if you play it with other people, it's even better. And it's just kind of funny because we started playing that, and then XC showed the preview for next week, but because I assume they'll be in the third party. But they showed some of their lineup, their E3 lineup, and one of them was 2 new EDF games, and I was like, oh, nice! We just started playing. That's weird timing. But like, yeah, it's a fun game. Next one's coming out on PS4, so we'll see. I'm hoping to get that one.
Nice.
And then the second game I played was Saints Row 4 Reelected. Which I'm pretty sure other people played. But I beat the story mode and then did the 2 DLCs, the Dominatrix and How the Saints Saved Christmas.
Nice.
And I think the core game has some of the best uses of like licensed music ever.
Do you agree what I said on here when I did them of? In my opinion, Enter the Dominatrix, you can clearly tell it was DLC that wasn't quite finished. but this Christmas one may be the greatest DLC ever.
Yeah, it could be. Well, the Dominatrix one, I think they because I know that they were trying to present it as such, so I'm not sure how much of it. I feel like it wasn't that it wasn't finished; it was that they didn't want it. They basically took what they had for the third one and just did it, So they didn't want to put extra effort into it.
Yeah, that's what I was on about. Like whenever some of it was like, oh, it's just storytelling, so it cuts to the next bit. But part of me thought it was like that because they hadn't been bothered to complete it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was from. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was from the Christmas DLC.
Yeah. Gigantic elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty awesome. But in the core game, I know you talked about these, but well, of course, the intro song or the Aerosmith, is awesome, and the part where you get the powered armor plays the touch. That's awesome, and the mission marker is be a badass. I was like, yes.
It does. I also love the fact if you make like the custom playlists like you do with the songs in that game, it feels like you have more variety over different periods than you do in most games. Like I don't mean any offense by this, but like GTA, I like GTA, but let's face it, it's all like very contemporary rap music and maybe one or two old songs. This one looks like, oh my god, it's the Aerosmith. Don't want to miss a thing. I'm like,
You mean songs that people actually like?
Some people like some of the current songs, but I just mean it's more varied.
Yeah.
Sort of like my Just Dance game where it has Disney music, current music, old music, and it's like that. A broader spectrum is always better because there's going to be something everyone likes.
Yeah. Well, I like the one mission where you take Pierce and you two are like singing in the car and it's playing like Opposites Attract and what was the other one? I forget the title, but You Got What I Need. That was the title of it. and I just love because I like the part with Opposites Attract because it's the person's voice singing it, so they had to record that 6 different or 7 different times because Nolan North. So there's like 7 different people singing that.
Yup, I like that. Yeah, I thought at first, if I'd be a female one, will it change to make me the other person? But no, and that's somehow hilarious. I was like hearing a female still singing the Cats lyrics. Is it wrong? I don't know who sings that. I just know it was sung by Paul Abdul and a cat, and that's all I care about.
That's all I know. And that stealth mission was probably the best stealth mission I played in a non-stealth game because they were like making fun of that stuff. So like shoot the lights and the guy's like, oh man, my eyes must be going bad. He's like, and then your character's like, don't they have a light switch here? You just go through the vent covers and he's like, I gotta teach evil me about screwing on vent covers. And you said, did it give you an eye patch too or just the goatee?
I think it gave me just the goatee, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Because I had like facial hair, so I had like an eye patch, and I'm like, yes.
Nice, so it made you different.
Yeah.
Was your evil self clean shaven?
No, he just same facial hair, just had an eye patch.
Ah, okay, that's how they did that. That's funny. I would have laughed if it'd been the other way around, like your evil self was clean shaven.
Although I gotta say, because when I was making my the guy character I use, for whatever reason, when I ran across a mullet, I'm like, yes, sure, why not? Let's put a mullet on him. That looks funny. So I was fighting against a dude that was, not clean shaven with an eye patch and a mullet, and I'm like, and I'm sneaking around in this level. Like that's the most solid snake you could probably get in that game. He just needed a headband. But and that was total on accident. I didn't know that mission was coming up. That was just how I made him. And then I was telling my wife, like, that's probably, like, the best mission in the game. And then, of course, I had to be wrong by playing the next one with Saints of Rage, which you mentioned. And can they just make that a game? That was so fucking fun.
That was.
Dude does, like, Shoryukens in his combo, like a giant stunner, a jumping backbreaker. I'm like, this is awesome! And then I discovered in, like, Stage 3 I had a dive kick, and I'm like, oh! So yeah, those missions were amazing.
No, I love that game. Like I said, my favorite one is the Christmas mission, just because I was like, oh my, there's not a single part of this. It's not awesome. Like when you're killing the fucking, was it snowman or gingerbread man?
Yeah.
With like fucking like Christmas weapons. I'm like, this is awesome. And like in Santa's sleigh, good. Done when you fire one missile. Bad, fire a different missile.
I like it has a Christmas remix of the dubstep gun.
Yes.
Yeah, those missions, and like the tank and the Enter the Dominatrix. When I saw that, I was like, "Is that a?" Oh my God, the cannon is a giant penis. I was like, "That is really stupid, but really clever at the same time."
Yeah, like when you beat the Dominatrix and inside your vehicles, you find like a plane where it looks like it's got a ball gag on top.
Yeah, they went all out. Like I didn't think it was gonna be as not graphic, but like I didn't think they would go as far as they did with that one. Like the guy has the chair made of dicks, and
I
Now I know
love the
who's.
chair made of dicks. I kind of want that as a mini sculpture. Like, I would like it as an actual chair, but I don't think that's a thing. So I take like a mini sculpture and I have it on my desk because far away it actually does look like the original one.
Yeah.
I also liked the chair dick when I looked at it because I'm like, I believe it is. I might be wrong, but wasn't that Game of Thrones not a joke?
Yeah, it was.
assumed
That's it, because it looks like the Game of Thrones chair far away, and then when you get up to close to it, then it's a dick chair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if maybe it was just a coincidence. But that would be a huge one.
That's never mind. But yeah, both those DLCs are super good. And the Santa one, that one where you learn that montage at the end, where you're like giving food to homeless people and like throwing snowballs and caroling and stuff.
Yes. And you can. I think it was that one where you can get an ugly Christmas sweater as a result.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was that or if it was GTA 5, because that one also has ugly Christmas sweaters and stuff for the Christmas DLC, but it didn't have fucking riding Santa's sleigh, which knows how much I wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. After you beat the first one, you get the ugly Christmas sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah.
Did Pew play through them?
I did play through them. They were awesome.
Nice. I couldn't remember how far you got on Saints Row the 4th on PS4.
Oh, I beat it.
Nice.
And then I did the DLC.
Did you do Get Out of Hell?
Yes. I love the singing in that. It was just so awesome.
Yeah. But I will say, and I don't mean any offense by this, but you're an odd little cookie, Rick.
Oh?
You did Get Out of Hell first, and this week is Saints Row the 4th. That's not the order, damn you.
I know.
You're doing it
well,
wrong.
I played like some of Saints Row on PS3, so like I was like, I want to try Get Out of Hell. It's supposed to be shorter, so I figured, that I could get rid of the
sense. It's not two story-driven games anyway.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you knew the story. It didn't really affect anything if it's your boss.
But now I know who Zemos is because of that. Because sometimes I see names and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Because I played some of the first one, but I didn't. I own Saints Row 2 and 3, but I haven't played them yet. So now it's like, oh, now I know who characters are before I know who they are.
I also liked in one of the Saints Row, but I think you got me kind of in this one. I think it was Saints Row the 3rd or the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
After one of your characters died, you actually got to type in a phone number as a cheat, and you'd get that same homie but undead.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, that's genius.
Zombie Lynn, I think it was in the first one.
be honest, since I think it was Saints Row the 4th, Rick. How much did you mark out? I know you played parts of it anyway, but how much did you mark out every time for Rowdy Woody Piper?
That was awesome. I forgot. I'd heard he was in there. I was like, what? And I didn't see him. And then, when I saw him, I was like, oh, yeah, he's in this game. What the Fighting. Yeah,
wrestling, Santa's sleigh, mech suit, and all this. It's like they combined everything we all want in a game and just put it in there.
I know that a side-scrolling beat-em-up and the mech suit is amazing. I was so happy when it's like, you unlocked that for free play. I'm like, yes, I did.
And you can make a female character, Pew.
Yay! That's always my favorite.
And you can romance everyone.
I like that part.
Well, not Ben King. You ask for his autograph. Don't be afraid to ask. Can you autograph my book? Yeah.
I also loved romancing Sid the robot. You just pull it towards your crotch in a suggestive way. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, he says he's equipped for that, but then in his letter to Santa, he wants extra equipment. I'm like, geez, dude.
He wants more. What's wrong with wanting more?
He's talking to Fun Shandi. It's like, we should go out sometime. She's like, okay. And they're like, wait, what? Really? And she's like, sure, why not? Could be fun.
And I will say that's one of the greatest things they've done in the game, in my opinion, with Fun Shandi and regular Shandi, just to lampshade and take the piss out the fact they've changed the model in one of the games, and I'm like, thank you.
And don't forget future Shandi in the Christmas one. She's the cyborg arm. Shandi, she's like, oh, fuck me. Why are there so many of me?
I also love the giant can.
Paul?
Yeah, when I see him, I'm like, oh my god, it's like Stay Puft.
Yeah. Oh, man. Why does this thing have a brain? What have I been drinking all these years? Yeah, it's definitely a funny game. But all right, so without any further ado, we should get to our Video Game Hall of Fame nominees for any subsequent years. Just games that, obviously we're not going to take one from the first class. That'd be silly. But ones that we think deserve to be in there for future years. Huh?
I joked and said changing my list.
Just Marcus it, and you can. Anyway, actually, he might be listening at this point. Kidding, Marcus.
Oh, I totally had that too and shit.
But so we'll just I assume go round table and just. I mean, they don't have to be in any particular order, so it's not you're like listing your number one, just whatever order, and then just if you want a brief explanation of why you think it deserves to be there, because. Why not? I mean, if you really want to just be like Super Meat Boy and then next, okay. But anyway, so with your first nominee, let's go with Mole.
Okay, I'm gonna go with number 7. I get to actually put these in order.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Of least to most. I don't know why, but I put number 7, The Sims.
Nice.
No, my Skype stopped responding. Doesn't matter because we're not on Skype right now, but it stopped responding. But The Sims, I put The Sims because it basically made mainstream the building simulators and stuff like that, which was, I always loved those types of games anyway, but it made them even more mainstream than they've ever been in the past. Plus, I also put that on there because I found out a little statistic with this. Did you know this game was a massive success with female gamers, and most gay female gamers list The Sims as their first experience with video games, and more female gamers were around after The Sims, so many that weren't even heard of in the year 2000. I'm not saying all female gamers, just some. So I'm like, well, it helped elevate what female gamers look for in games, and did that, so boom, Sims.
I will admit that that was one of my future/possible ones, because it was that was like a huge phenomenon. And one of the weird things about one of my friends was he plays a lot of games. I didn't picture he played that game, and like it was I think when Sims 3 came out, because we worked at a game store then, and he's like, oh, Sims 3 is coming, I gotta reserve that. And I was like, what? You don't play that? And he's like, what are you talking about? My sister and I would fight over the computer for time to play The Sims. I was like, I learned something about you today. I didn't think you played that game.
I figure I learned something about you today. You have a sister that you haven't introduced to Richter. Like you think it's a threat.
I was already married at that point, but no. Anyway, but no, I've never seen his. Anyway, but yeah,
you haven't seen his sister. Maybe he does like Santina.
I don't think so, but hey, who knows?
That's how he feels less guilty for buying The Sims. As he puts on a wig, makeup, a dress, and goes in there. Oh, hello! I believe you have a game for me.
I believe you have a game for me. Okay, what's your name? I don't know. Anyway, I definitely agree with The Sims. That was one of my possible ones. I didn't put it, but it was one that I would have put in a future year. So, Stacy, your first one?
My first one was Super Mario Mario 3.
That is my favorite Mario.
Mostly because I think it felt the description perfectly, because it's iconic. Everybody pretty much played it from our generation.
Yep.
And I'd say slightly, because you might be like, I think you're like 0.5 of a generation ahead of me, you and Jeff.
Uh-huh. I've played it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you like are
Oh.
not in the generation. I'm just saying like people older than me like as well have played it. Like, and people in my generation, like the 0.5 extra, have also played it.
But Pew.
Even though they might have not been born as early.
But Pew.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror. Your best days are behind you.
Fuck off.
Rick just giggle like that's so mean.
That is.
I'm kidding, Pew. But yeah, I love Super Mario 3. That's my favorite Mario game of all time. I know some people say World, but mine's 3.
Well, it's got the longevity, you know, and it fits all the categories that it needs for the heroes. The heroes. Fucking
The heroes
World Hall of Fame for the
Yep.
games.
All right. So for my first one, I'll start there. I'll just go in order. I picked EverQuest because when they put World of Warcraft in there, I was like, that's a good choice because that made. Wait a second, like no EverQuest. I mean, that's that's the reason there is a WoW, and it's definitely not still around today, but it lasted many years, and it was what really started the obsession with MMOs. WoW perfected it in some ways, but EverQuest definitely started it, and
I loved EverQuest. I don't know which one came first, but I mean out of this version, but I definitely played EverQuest, one of them on PS2, way before I ever heard of World of Warcraft. But I might just be maybe I was in an innocent place then, if that makes sense, before the PS2 one. But it also gave me a reason to connect that big fucking slab to the back of my console to hook up an Ethernet cable.
The EverQuest Online Adventures, I think it was called, is the PS2 one.
Nice. I like that game.
But yeah, I was like, that has to be there. Like, if that's not there next year, I'm gonna be like shocked.
Oh my god, that makes me feel old now. We had to slab a big giant brick into the back of our console, hook up an Ethernet cable to play a fantasy MMO, and even then the lag was pretty bad because internet wasn't good then. And nowadays, like we just talked about in catch up, I was playing Elder Scrolls Online with my PS4 without having to put an Ethernet in it, and I've had no lag so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Different times.
That's true. All right, so Mole, your second one.
Thank you, Rick. This is the oldest one on my list, but number 6, Wii Sports. For popularizing and launching motion gaming. I know some people are going to say, well, it just happened to come with the Wii, but come on. It was a big thing that literally got people into motion gaming. It showed you what motion gaming could do. And it definitely has longevity and people love it and stuff because Wii U's version of Wii Sports is now out where it's like a subscription based, which that just proves how popular it is. Like everyone could play Wii Bowling or Wii Baseball and stuff, and it made motion gaming really fucking fun in a way I don't think any game really has. Other games have been better, but none takes, you know what I mean? None feels the same as when you picked up the first time where, dung for baseball. Oh my god, I just did that by doing the action. Until you realise you could just go and move your wrist, but I still preferred making the actual motions, like standing up and doing like, strike, like a ball, instead of just sitting and going, like some people have.
Nice.
Thank you. But like I said, that's the oldest one on my list, which means I thought some people may be like, ooh, it's too new, but I like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when you said the oldest, you're like, this is the oldest on my list. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you're like, Wii Sports. I'm like, wait a minute.
Sorry, I meant newest. My bad.
Okay. All right. So, Stacy, your second one.
Well, my second one was, and these are in no order whatsoever.
All right.
They're not again, but people might argue this is too new, but whatever, fuck it. We love Katamari. And I think that should be in there just because I think it fits all categories, and something is specific that I did for gaming, I believe, is taking such a retarded, simple concept and making it amazing and playable.
Is that the second one?
What? Oh, I only played the one that's specifically. They don't have like numbers after it.
Yeah,
One was We Love Katamari. That's like.
'Cause I think the first one was just Katamari Damacy, and I want to say We Love Katamari was the second one, but I know, but they don't have numbers.
Yeah, and so okay. That's the I played that one and then the other one, so it could be the first one that did it.
And
So.
I'm not insulting your choice at all, Pew. That sounds great. However, I will say, when you say what I did for video gaming was prove that you could take a ridiculously retarded plot and make a really great game, that's Mario!
No, I didn't say plot at all. I said
giant
you could take
mushrooms you're eating.
I just said nothing about plot. I said you could take a ridiculously stupid like action and then turn it into a game.
Oh, when you said
Like
what you could do for a game was you could take a ridiculous, stupid concept and make a great game out of it. I was like, oh, I thought you meant the story aspect of it.
No, I just mean like you just push a ball. Like that's the whole fucking game. And like that's it. And every time you tell anybody
FIFA.
But anytime you tell anybody about it, they're like, how is that even remotely fun, like, at all? And it's like, it's fucking amazing. And it's iconic. I have played so many of them since the first one. I've gotten all the ones I can get my hands on. And it's just so, like, fucking ridiculous. Like, this one, you have, like, a sumo you're rolling up. Because he's like, I'm ball-like. So, you know,
nice.
You roll sumo and make him even fatter to beat the other sumo so he can win, because the fattest sumo wins, because that's how that works. So
I will say I haven't heard of that game, but it sounds awesome. I totally need to check that out.
Yeah, like you just rolled this one dude up and you collect all the food, or you I like rolling up like animals because you actually hear them like they go meow, ah! Or you know like and they fidget too.
They're like, rah, rah, rah.
And they fidget too, like when they're stuck in the ball. They're like, You can't see me, but I'm twitching my shoulder, like, and blinking weird.
That is a very Japanese game series.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very Japanese. Also, it has pretty cool music.
Yeah.
Like this other one was just like rolling up fireflies. So this kid could read his book by a firefly light. So I was just rolling up a giant ball of fireflies.
And I'm going to have to say, just because it's slightly on topic, thank you, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned that sounds like a very Japanese game, thank you. Because I get the fact Rick knows that Japanese games are about the fun and all this aspect. I mentioned this to Pew the other day. I was watching a video game one over here called Videogame Nation.
Mm-hmm.
I may not like as many, but I fucking face-palmed when it came to RPG discussion.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, you told me what they said.
Yeah, they were talking about Witcher 3 and then about Western RPGs in general. And like, well, the way to tell a Japanese RPG with a Western one is a Western one. I've mentioned this before now, where it's like sort of like tabletop gaming about creating your own thing. Fair enough. And they're like, and they put more emphasis on all the lore and all characters and relationships and all that. And the Japanese ones, you can tell if it's Japanese if they look like someone from an 80s commercial for Moose. and they're like, and that's all the Japanese ones have going for it is the look. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to call bullshit right there. I'm pretty sure it's not about just the look. Yeah. I may not like a lot of them, but I know they're not just, it looks like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Richter probably would have rolled over his grave if he'd heard that.
It's true.
It's true. At least to me, that felt insulting. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I don't know. There are people like that, though. There are.
Sadly.
You're just like, oh, JRPGs is like, oh yeah, everything is spiky haired and androgynous men. It's like, no, there's that too.
There's that too. Yeah,
like those are like the stereotypes. It's like JRPG, you're gonna have effeminate looking dudes and everyone has spiky hair. And if it's a Western RPG, everyone is fucking ugly.
I feel like, that is the stereotypes. I also feel those stereotypes are more for people that haven't played them.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hear people talk about shooters, they're always like, well, it's just some big muscle-bound guy carrying a bunch of guns and shooting stuff. But I'm like, to be fair, isn't Splatoon also shooters nowadays? And we've had games like that, or Portal, where you've been first-person and shooting.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you count that, but you know what I
I thought
mean?
you were going to be like, Lara Croft is not a muscle-bound dude.
Yeah, she is. That's how Sony moves consoles.
Nice. I don't think he's muscle-bound. Oh, anyway.
He's more muscly than
Yeah, but
non-muscly.
like when you say like muscle-bound dude, I picture like Gears of War.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not. I'm like, that's
Burly
not all.
dudes.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not all this series
Yeah.
is. But that's how everyone imagines something like.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true. Or you're a soldier in World War II.
yes.
Like, no, we've gone beyond that. We're now in the future. All right, and that was Pew's second one, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
was
So,
yours. Okay.
fucking we love Katamari.
Yay. Okay, for my second one,
Wait, one more thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's
sure.
about We Love Katamari, because I'm trying to sell Mo on it now so he plays it.
Yeah.
You can roll up all the planets you've collected by the stuff you've achieved, because when you beat a level, you get a planet. You can roll up all the planets that you've gotten to, like, roll up the sun because someone thought, like, you couldn't do it. Yeah, or to stop a nuclear missile by rolling up countries. Because if the countries aren't on the world anymore, they can't be attacked by a nuclear missile.
That's kind of cool, but it's no starting a galactic war, entering a wormhole, going through and starting another one, and coming back through, just because you could. I.e., Spore. Endgame. I loved Spore. Not many people played Spore. I fucking loved that. But you played as like a fucking little amiibo. Well, not an amiibo because that sounds like a figure now. But you like a single cell organism all the way up to space travel.
Nice. So for my second one, I'll save that one. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'll go. There's some debate with my wife and I about which one of these we should take because I felt I had to do a PC game.
Is your
and
wife listening?
No.
I agree with you.
Okay. It wasn't like an argument. I definitely.
I know.
It wasn't like no, it has to be this one. But because I'll mention the one that it narrowly edged out was Oregon Trail because I'm not sure if that's international enough. And it was funny that I said that before. I didn't know what the qualifications were, but that apparently was one of the qualifications. But I went with PC Legend. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Ooh, that one's a good one.
I love that.
I know, like everyone has played that. It's like in schools everywhere, and they had that awesome TV show. And
Which one came first?
The game?
Okay, yeah. No, the reason I asked is I was still in school at the time, and I wasn't obviously into the PC gaming scene and stuff. And I watched the cartoon of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and I watched the live action show and stuff. And then eventually I stumbled across the game. Like they just put it out on the shelf when the TV show became huge. And I'm like, oh my god, they made a game of this! And I took it, and that's how I got into it.
Yeah, no. As far as I've seen, the game came first because it was like one of those first edutainment titles where they're like, "Oh, we need to make a game that teaches you something." But that game was actually really fun.
It was.
And I remember at school we'd always have you could always tell when someone was at the end because they would run up and get the almanac and flip open to the pages with all the flags. Because at the end it would be like, she went to a country with this flag, and we didn't know that. We'd always run up and look, Sweden, okay. But those games were awesome.
See, ironically we didn't used to have to do that.
Mm.
When I was in school, where the computers were happened to double as the geography room. So on the wall was a big fucking thing of all the flags in the world.
Nice. No, ours we had like special computer lab with those, not even Windows machines, like DOS machines.
Yeah, I didn't have special. We didn't have special computer labs in my school until I was in high school.
Mm.
And then obviously that created when the world was over.
Yeah.
At that point, but it was like I remember at school there'd be like one computer or two computers or so in like the geography room, and that'd be it. They ran games like Pod Can Pop. I used to find that funny because it used to be Pod can run and he'd run. Pod can swim and he'd make him swim. Pod can, if you put pop, he'd just blow up like a suicide bomber. I typed pop a lot.
Nice. But yeah, I had to go with that one. Definitely, though, Oregon Trail, if it was international enough, I would say that would go in a future year. But with all the
games.
Yeah. What do you mean? No.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were debating amongst which one of the series. I was like, wait, that's
no.
I'll have to go out and buy that right now.
No, because I had basically, not counting EverQuest, like not counting MMOs, but I had like 4 to 6 like PC games where I'm like, even though I'm not a huge PC guy, of like, yeah, these I would definitely go with, but I was like, well, I want to put only one on the list.
Grim Fandango.
Huh?
Grim Fandango.
Grim Fandango. Was that PC? Oh, I guess that was PC until a couple months ago. Yeah. But yeah, I had to go with that. So
The Island.
Well, okay. Anyway, so we will. So Mole, your third one.
My third one, which may come as a surprise that I put this one on the list, but I'm not an over big fan of this series. But number 5, I gave it to Halo Combat Evolved, because I feel it. While nothing about the game, in my opinion, besides maybe the setting, was original, because I could see all these elements from like Time Splitters and like fucking GoldenEye and stuff like that. They combined them in a way that basically established what future first-person shooters were going to be like all the way forward for many years. I think Call of Duty now sets what modern shooters are, but you know what I mean? For the longest time, that did settle, I feel. And I was like, it definitely would deserve a place in the Hall of Fame. Plus, arguably, this is what moved the Microsoft Xbox, the first one, forward and helped redefine gaming by adding a third competitor.
Yeah. That was one of my alternates, because it definitely deserves to be there. I think its most significant contribution was it defined how shooters would be on a console. Like before that, it was always like, oh, you gotta do it on a PC because you need a keyboard and mouse, and they gave a control scheme that worked really well, that to this day is still used. And yeah, GoldenEye is definitely famous for other reasons, but let's be fair, shooting in the original GoldenEye is pretty clunky because you can't move and aim at the same time, and like, just I don't know, like I would definitely, Halo is a good choice.
It was. I always loved GoldenEye. I feel a lot of people discredit that game, but
I think a lot of people love it. It's not that I don't. It's not that I dislike it or anything. A lot of people love it. I always felt like just you look back at it, it was a little clunky. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's definitely.
Oh, I know.
I love that I could make like Jackie Chan women, like Jackie Chan faced like women, and that was just the funniest thing in the entire world to me. No,
I was explaining that. Yeah, I understood that. I was just explaining that GoldenEye was the alternative to this one. I had that in brackets, but I was like, I'm probably just gonna go with Halo, because I was like, it did define them, and like I said, fun little tidbit for you. As I discovered the other day, as I mentioned to Pew, had the Dreamcast have fallen, I honestly believe Halo would have been on Dreamcast.
Oh.
Microsoft gave Sega their operating system for Dreamcast and refused to really do consoles because they were helping Sega. So if Sega had been successful, I feel they wouldn't have made their own. They would have done that one. And if you look at the original Xbox, a lot of the features and stuff on there seem like it's spiritual successor to the Dreamcast.
They do.
At least I find that a little interesting, because they never had the crossover either between them, so it makes sense.
That would be pretty sweet.
And I'm like, a crossover point where the Dreamcast and Xbox were both successful at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like Dreamcast sort of died out before Xbox came out, and I was like, that's kind of cool when I discovered that fact of, so right now you'd be playing like, I don't know, the Sega one.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so Pew, your third one?
The third one I have was Knights of the Old Republic. Just because I think that's, I don't know if it's the it's probably not the first BioWare one, but it's one of their earlier ones. And I think like that kind of, if I understand this correctly, that kind of gave birth to the whole idea of like that type of storytelling game, very character driven, where your choices matter, like, and your opinion, your choices can affect their companion's opinion of you.
Right.
And like that kind of whole thing, because like Mass Effect, like not Bioshock. I'm sorry, why did I say that? But BioWare games kind of almost are their own like genre. I feel like, and it's kind of pretty much like that, because yeah, you can do this whole awesome shit, and there's like freaking sex in there. Like not in this one particularly, but. Like, a lot of games just kind of ignore that people even make relationships with anybody.
Yeah.
Like, every relationship ever has been always a platonic one. Babies are magic, what are you talking about?
Yep. I do believe they had more games out before the Old Republic, like, what the hell's that game, Victor? Like Baldur's Gate, I believe.
Mm.
But
I don't know if they did that one.
But I feel like
Yeah.
the Knights of the Old Republic is the one that put them on the map, if that makes sense.
That's exactly how I put it. I believe one of their earlier games was MDK. I think that was them, but nobody remembers that, and I never played it. But yes, Knights of the Old Republic is what made BioWare a known entity. Like, a lot of studios, they have a game where you're just like, oh, that studio because of that. Like, with Beautiful Joe and Okami, Clover's not around anymore, but that's why you knew Clover, because of those. It was very much their style, and yeah, like, I don't think it was, I'm pretty sure it wasn't their first, but it's what, made BioWare a thing
And
that people knew.
I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I just turned into Jim because I was like, oh crap, was I wrong about that? And I looked it up. They made Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate Tale of the Sword Coast. They made Shattered Steel first, MDK 2, Baldur's Gate 2, Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, 3 of those, and then Old Republic.
Yeah.
Which,
it's the Baldur's Gate PC ones. I like the console ones, but and Neverwinter Nights, that's a cool game.
Yeah. And like I said, though, which you agreed with as well, of Knights of the Old Republic, that put them on the map. That, to me, defined what their games were going to be going forward.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole reason I bought, and I see it on the list as well. I was like, I remember that, Jade Empire. I only bought that because of Knights of the Old Republic.
A face and now a name. Or a name and a face, wherever that goes. Turning popular.
Yeah.
Alright, so
I just got giddy. If Wikipedia is right, which I know it's not always, under their upcoming games, untitled Star Wars game.
Ooh.
I'm partly excited for that, but part of me thinks it's just going to be a big open fetch quest shit. Like Dragon Age Inquisition.
It'll be Old Republic on consoles.
I would buy that. I like the Old Republic MMO. It's no galaxies, but...
Alright, so my third one,
Road Rash.
I'm gonna go with this one, even though I feel like it'll get said. I'm gonna pick Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, that was my next one.
Nice. I was pretty sure you'd have that there. That's why I picked.
Yeah, I also went bottom to top because I figured, well, fuck it, we're probably going to have most overlap going near the top. It'll speed it up. I had that.
But yeah, because I mean, that's like there was a Street Fighter 1, but people don't even remember that. They feel that Street Fighter 2 started. Like that was the first one, and that was the first good one. Like that, there's a reason there was like 8 versions of it. I know there's only 4, but anyway. But like that was what stemmed all fighting games.
You didn't include the HD remasters, which tops it up.
That's true. I was counting before, like, arcade cabinets. I was counting, like, because they had that, then Hyper Fighting, the Championship Edition, maybe in the other order. I think Championship Edition, because that had the bosses playable. Good lord.
Yeah, I remember, like,
to all those younger people, they used to have to not have patches. They would just make a different one.
I also remember one came to SNES, one came to Mega Drive, and there were different versions too.
Yeah.
Like, I think Mega Drive got Turbo.
But yeah, that's really what which made fighting games basically what they are today. It's what started it, and that has to be there.
I agree. I put on my list for making fighting games mainstream because I love fighting games, and I would feel Street Fighter's always the best.
Yeah. So did you have anything more to add about Street Fighter 2?
No, we covered it.
Okay. So then, Stacy, your fourth one? Since that was Mole's
My fourth one is Portal. Mostly because it took a very puzzle game and had really subtle storytelling in it. And throughout the most part, like, there wasn't even, like, any talking in it. And I say not talking because, like, GLaDOS is in there, but she's not in it for the first, like, part. And then she comes in after, like, the third or fourth, like, puzzle. And, like, that's, like, okay. And then she finally starts talking and putting stories in.
Oh, you're going to feel real bad about yourself now when Richter announces his next one, a puzzle fighter.
I just feel like as other ones, there's, like, a whole story of plot because there's people and characters and they're in a place where they do something and there's other people, but that's it. It just, there's no other people. You are the people. That's it.
Yeah.
Want to know who the people are? You. And that's it. Nobody.
I was kidding. I think Portal does belong there. I was making the joke of he would say puzzle fighter just because it has all the Street Fighter characters, so it's got that story. I was joking.
Also,
it just tied together well.
Unlike most other games, it requires your brain to think, like, in another way. And I'm not saying, like, to solve, like, a riddle or something, but it's kind of similar to that, where you just have to lock your brain into, okay, this is how the world works, and that's it. Like, you have to apply that to the rest of it. And then when you play some other game, you'll forget all about it, and then you go back and be like, fuck, I'm not using my portal brain. You're not thinking with physics, or thinking with portals.
Yeah, I was about to say, that part of my brain is usually on because it was very physics-based. That's why I get annoyed a lot of times in games when I'm like, that's not how physics should work. If I knocked over that box, it should fall over in this way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I loved the fact Portals was physics-based. It's like, in my opinion, one of the things that made Sonic the Hedgehog awesome was it was so physics-based. Because if you ran it a certain way and hit at a certain angle, you would go differently to everyone else. And that you know what I mean? Physics in games is awesome when they get it right.
Yeah.
It also amuses me in games with physics where you're like, oh my god, I can do this, and then you stop and you think for a second, you're like, I should always be able to do this. This is how the world works.
That is true. All right, so I guess
that's mine.
All right, so my fourth one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with this one. The original Legend of Zelda. Because that like made adventure games. Like that game is still classic, still holds up to this day. I believe.
That was on my next one.
I was pretty sure it would be on your list. But like that's, I don't know if it's my favorite Legend of Zelda game because I really do like Link to the Past. But if not, it's either number one or number two, and that's just such a good game. And it
did heavily affect what is a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, true. But it like kind of in a lot of ways set a precedent of how to like do games where it's like, oh, you go in a dungeon, you get a special item. It helped do that stuff.
And it's like a puzzle. You need to like figure out like how it applies to like the whole thing.
Exactly. And they also have so many secrets in that game, and it was like a phenomenon back in the day where you would like talk with kids in school about like, oh, you know, like you tell them like, oh, dude, if you burn this bush in this one spot, there's a guy that gives you rupees. People are like, what? Like, there's just secrets that you would find that somebody else wouldn't. You know, it's before the internet. I imagine the internet would kind of ruin that game nowadays, but it's, you know, like that's just crazy because you could just do so much stuff in there that you'd find the stuff and you're like, oh, that works there. What? You know, you'd poke walls with your sword. Like, yeah, I can't be the only person that would like. You'd go into a room and even if you were sure that there was no secret, you would still poke everywhere with the sword to try to hear that like different noise that you knew to bomb that place. Like it was just there was like it felt like that game had puzzles, but they weren't impossible to figure out. It wasn't like you look it up and you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. It felt like, you know, you could solve it yourself, and it wasn't. They were definitely hidden, but it wasn't like impossible things. Like you could still figure it out by thinking, and you're like, oh, like like why is this place dark? And it's like, we'll use the candle.
Cracks in the wall, or the lighting fires, or.
Yeah, and I agree with like you guys said that games still use some of the elements from that today. But I will say a lot of them that use it now, it doesn't make sense. It made perfect sense with Legend of Zelda. It always makes sense. Yeah. What doesn't make sense is like when you're playing like a superhero game, it's like, oh, now you've got this power of like shooting a various item out of your hand. Now every enemy is now affected by only that for the next stage. And I'm like, but this boss is after me. Wouldn't he logically have sent them after me first? It doesn't make sense here. But I mean, Legend of Zelda, it just made sense.
Yeah.
Although laser beam swords, I don't think came back.
Yes. But no, it's a great game. So, Mole, your next one?
And my next one, which is my fifth, I want to say. I've got 3 left. Yeah. This is number 3 on my list. I've Grand Theft Auto 3, and I didn't just put it there because of the 3 before people think that. But Grand Theft Auto 3, which I don't think anyone's going to argue with that, because moving forward, every game since has tried to be sandbox, and every game's tried to be GTA and stuff, and it's like, GTA literally defined it. It even defined the fact, before GTA, while there was some in games, I feel like after GTA, how many hidden packages has every game had for collectibles and shit? And you know what I mean? It's like that to me defined sandbox games and made it so every game going forward, especially that gen, had to be sandbox or people weren't caring as much.
Yeah, like that was also on my list. But I think one thing, or you know, one of the amazing things about that game is not only did it define a genre of like, you know, open world sandbox, whatever you want to call it, but also you know, like when the first Grand Theft Auto came out, that was like amazing. Everyone, you know, had heard of it and talk about it and whatever. And then the second one came out, and I didn't hear near as much chatter about it. And then I think after that was London, I think, came out after that. But like this, it's not like the GTA franchise was dead, but it definitely like the first one made it like well talked about, but then it kind of dropped off, didn't die or anything. But this brought it back almost, you know, like this made it even more famous than its initial launch, and it defined a genre and just made it bigger than it ever was. And like I can't think of many games that did both of those at the same time. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I've had that as well. Like GTA 1 to London, people always talked about and stuff, and we always had fun. But when GTA 3 came out, people that weren't talking about GTA games ever were suddenly like, I just pulled out the rocket launcher and destroyed this hell. Like, oh my god! And it's like, that's awesome. And like we said, everything going forward had to be sandboxy and stuff like that. And I feel like it's worth noting there was games that did 3D sandboxing first. Like I think Driver 3 did it first, where you could get out the driver cars and start getting into the other cars and stuff. But let's call a spade here. No one made, like, Spider-Man 2 wasn't trying to be Driver.
Yeah.
And I like Driver, if that makes sense. I'm not insulting Driver, but it's like, there's a reason why the Driver game that came out after GTA was being GTA. I mean, they even included stuff in that was like GTA. It wasn't like GTA ripped off Driver. Because I know that's one thing I hear some GTA haters say. Like I also hear some of them say, like, oh well, on the PC when we had Grand Theft Auto 1, it played like an open sandbox game. Like, yeah, it did. It wasn't 3D. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like destroying something in that was like, oh, poof, a little graphic went poof. It wasn't pulling out a rocket launcher,
Yeah.
shooting a helicopter and seeing it come down and destroying other cars and stuff. It's like, oh my god,
Like,
I did that.
The first one, yeah, it was technically open world or whatever, but did how many games tried to copy that versus how many games tried to copy Grand Theft Auto 3?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't necessarily the first that was open world sandbox, I guess, but it was like what made that a thing and not just like a game. Like it made that a genre in a way instead of just a style.
Yeah, which I feel that's important because a lot of people don't realize the difference. If that makes sense, like, oh, this one came first. That's the only reason these games exist. No, one game takes something similar, makes it big, and then it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
It's like there was a shooter before Doom. I feel there was a shooter before Doom, but we know Doom put it on the map.
Yeah.
There was platformers before Super Mario. But let's face it, which one made it huge?
Yeah. Exactly.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
All right. So, Stacy, your next one?
My next one was Skyrim. Or Oblivion, I should say the Elder Scrolls series. I guess, because I only played Skyrim, I only played Oblivion. It's just that there's like, it kind of just blew up and everything tried to be that because there's just so much to do in there and it's so fucking big and everything, like, it's insane. You can beat it, but like when I say beat it, you mean like play everything, but you have to kind of give up on life.
Yeah.
The people that have done everything in Morrowind, that they probably finished like a couple years ago, and that game came out like 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
Then Morrowind.
Yeah, in those games, I've never done absolutely everything in there. And no, Victor wasn't mentioning Morrowind like I was to say it was better. I just happened to prefer Morrowind. He was just saying that give it the same amount of time from when Morrowind came out to now, and people will have just finished Skyrim. Or just, although I will say, Oblivion felt less as open as Skyrim or Morrowind to me. It felt, I don't know why Oblivion felt off, but the Elder Scrolls games are fucking awesome. I do agree, a load of games do try to be Elder Scrolls, like Fallout.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to get what I just did with that.
I always love when I remember the joke because people would say this, but it's like, oh, how's Fallout play? It's like, oh, it's Elder Scrolls with guns. And they're like, what's Elder Scrolls? And you just be like, it's Fallout without guns. And then people just stare at you confused. I love doing that.
Like, I mentioned that before now. It's like I asked someone a while back, like Fallout 3, I think it was. I was like, how is it? And they're like, oh, did you play Morrowind? I'm like, yeah. It's like, if they just added guns. And I'm like, to be fair, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's like when I hear, which I'm still looking forward to and have purchased, like I mentioned, Titanfall. People are like, well, it's like Call of Duty with Max. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you just said the phrase with Max. That just sounds awesome. Yeah, but it's Call of Duty with Max. I'm like, how's that bad? Call of Duty's fun for multiplayer. Add Max, fucking awesome.
I think for Fallout, for me,
I was going to say, I feel too many people do that where it's like, it's blank with this.
Yeah.
And that element changes it dramatically.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, Elder Scrolls or Morrowind with guns, yeah, that's fine. Like, that worked. And also, Fallout had the VAT system, which...
that was cool.
Was amazing. And you combine that with the Bloody Mess perk that actually gave a bonus, but who cared? It made it so if you killed something, it exploded into bits. That was the actual purpose for it. It also, I think, gave a small damage boost, but in like 1 and 2, that's all it did. You took a perk that made things explode when you killed it. It didn't damage anybody. It was just awesome.
Yeah. And I will say, which I don't know if people would agree or not, but I feel like Fallout, its spiritual successor, if that makes sense, in a lot of ways, is Borderlands. I know not everyone's going to say that, but I feel like Borderlands, one of the best parts is its RPG elements, but it just goes a little bit more action-y than it does
it is,
that one. And I do feel like Borderlands is almost it's like they wanted to make their own spiritual successor to Fallout, and that's not an insult to Borderlands either. Before some people are like, no, they're completely different.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've played not the new one, but you've played like Morrowind and Oblivion. Well, I don't think Morrowind you can do, but like Oblivion stuff. You've done that in third person. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like those games are awesome, but the combat's not like top notch. But like definitely with Borderlands, it is much more actiony because they focused on that element. Where like Fallout, you could play it like a first person shooter, but it's not as good like that. Where Borderlands is definitely more.
Also, Borderlands just takes the piss and it's fun for the sake of, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, but which is why, like I said, I feel it's a spiritual successor, but clearly its own thing.
Yes, it is.
Like, Crash Bandicoot was clearly inspired by Mario. However, I don't like when people say Crash Bandicoot is only a Mario clone. It's like, it's different. It's like when people say the same thing about Sonic, and I'm like, playing Sonic 1 and playing Super Mario at the time, they're two very different games. They're just similar genres and similar elements. That doesn't necessarily mean clone.
I thought you were gonna say like it's not a rip off of Mario. They also rip off Mario Kart with Crash Team Racing.
Yeah, that one was a rip off.
I never played. I thought for a joke you were gonna say that.
Yeah. Which, like
I
I
have
said,
not played that.
which, like I said, sometimes rip-offs are also good as well. That's like I'm still hyped up for Lego Worlds.
I like Saints Row. That started as a clear rip-off of GTA, and now it's very different.
I haven't played many of those games, but after playing Saints Row the 4th, I felt it was an infamous rip-off.
Crackdown! God, I wanna like rage every time someone's just like, oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto and Infamous. I'm like, it's like Crackdown! Then I stomp my foot and go, God, you people buying your Halo beta.
I'm gonna make the comment, Rick. You are right with Crackdown, but Crackdown is Driver. Infamous is GTA 3. I'm kidding. I'm sure Crackdown was big. I knew people who had Xboxes. I never knew anyone who played Crackdown until I spoke to you. And I think Crispy.
Because it like the problem was it was the way to get the Halo beta, so that's like the only reason a lot of people bought it, and then they wouldn't bother to play the game. And yes, I had friends that bought it for that, and I was like, you should play Crackdown. Like, that game's nasty. I'm like, did you play it? They're like, no. And I'm like, then you don't know. There's co-op. I will run you through and get you achievements. You just come on and just try it. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I will say Crackdown did look awesome, and when they showed that, I think it was a trailer for the newest one, or the one that people think is going to be the newest one, or whatever, when it was, I was like, that does look pretty awesome. And I will say I am sad that the original Crackdown wasn't as more known as I felt it could have been.
Yeah, well, it sold well, but because of the beta, and they kind of bungled the second one, so that I was pretty sure we wouldn't get a third one, and that made me sad. I mean, the second one wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good, and a lot of people really didn't like it, so I was like, yeah, I liked it though.
I also feel like bundling it with that is stupid, only because, and I don't mean that as in a really bad way, but it's like, because it is a similar game to Infamous. They're not the same type of game as Halo. It's like if you bundled Infamous with, say, the beta for Little Big Planet. I don't think Little Big Planet fans and Infamous fans cross over enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you can play Final Fantasy, cool. All you gotta do is pre-order Tomb Raider. You're like, wait, what? No. But I might be off with that one.
Yeah. But yeah, oh man, what was it? What started this? I don't even remember.
It was something. Oh, it was Pew taking all of the Elder Scrolls games, all of them. Nom 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 nom.
All of them. Nom 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 nom.
Even Daggerfall and Arena, the ones
That's
that
the
nobody
sound
remembers.
that's the sound how I eat.
Yeah. Like I said with the Elder Scrolls games, I only heard of the other ones, like the ones you mentioned, after I played Morrowind on Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh, I've
this is
never
awesome.
played them.
I was like, this is awesome, and a friend of mine mentioned, oh, well, I've got some of the older ones on PC, and he let me take them off him and stuff, and I played them. I'm like, this is awesome. It's not Morrowind, but this is awesome.
I never played them. I just remember the names.
You remember the name just so at the parties when people are like, oh, everything's trying to be Skyrim, you can yell them out and be like, yeah, I'm superior.
Not really. I just well, because like when I first saw the game, I'm like, I would not have picked that up. It was actually I saw it at my now brother-in-law was playing it. But like I'd never even I'd seen it on the shelves, but the cover of Elder Scrolls games, they're not like they just look like a book cover. Like I was like, I don't know what the hell that is. But when I started playing, I was like, this game's really cool, and I was like, why is it called Elder Scrolls 3? So like I looked into it and I was like, oh, like I mean I figured there was 2 others, but like I'd never heard of them, and so I looked into why. And
it was so they could go back and make prequels.
Probably.
I'll admit with Morrowind, the reason I got into Morrowind was in one of my game magazines at the time. That's why I used to read magazines before the internet. But they were describing it as this big open RPG where you could make all loads of choices and stuff. And I'm like, that sounds like Knights of the Old Republic. Oh my god, imagine Knights of the Old Republic and fantasy. I didn't get the game I wanted until, Dragon Age. But I wasn't disappointed with Morrowind either, if that makes sense. It was good for different reasons.
That is true.
But I believe it's Richter's next one, isn't it?
Oh, no, I had Grand Theft Auto with you, so it's your 6th one.
Yep, which my number 2 is Mario 64.
Woo!
Because, let's call a spade again, defined 3D platforming. I felt loads of 3D platformers like Spyro, Crash, and various other ones were in part inspired by what Mario 64 brought to the table, if that makes sense. Like, they felt very Mario 64, but different enough that I'm not going to say rip-off and completely write them off. Like, I loved Spyro and stuff, but I feel like Mario 64, in a similar way to what GTA 3 did, it defined a new genre of 3D platforming.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mario 64.
Nice. All right, Stacy, your next one.
Alright, my next one is Animal Crossing. Just because it's a game where you can pretty much like do nothing. And you can waste so much amount of time in it, and it has a really awesome like community where you can pretty much go to other people and watch them do nothing. And
a game where you can do nothing? Isn't that absolutely every single multiplayer the way Marcus plays it?
It's just that, like, they've made so many of them, and people are always asking for more, and it's very iconic, and you can get stuff straight from, like, at least the way Nintendo does it, you can get straight from, like, Nintendo. Like, and they have, like, so many codes, and they can send you stuff. You can go places, like, actual physical, like, places, and get, like, stuff for Animal Crossing. Like, I went to, Nintendo World, and I got a Nintendo World t-shirt for my, Animal Crossing person.
Don't you
can only get by scanning the thing there. I'm sure someone could copy the QR code and, like, cheat or something to find a way to replicate a computer, but, like...
Don't you think Animal Crossing was the wrong choice, Pew?
What?
I mean, come on, Animal Crossing, it's just a My Sims clone.
I think this one was first.
It was, that was the joke. Oh. My Sims was literally, let's take the Sims and make it Animal Crossing. No, that's not what I want. And damn you for making me think day one purchase.
I actually got that. I did like it.
I did. I liked My Sims, and the second My Sims I did not like when they tried to do My Sims Flight and My Sims other shit. I'm like, no, just be an Animal Crossing game. That's what you want it to be.
Yeah, it's awesome, and you can like feel a lot of attachment. Like, I didn't know this was a thing with the latest like Animal Crossing, the one for the 3DS, but a lot of like people who play it between the ages of 11 and 15 actually have like serious, like, not gonna say how serious or whatever, but relationships with their characters. Like, oh, I have this village is my boyfriend, this village is my girlfriend, and I never thought, even like playing that game, never thought like that or ever. Now this is why I put extra flowers around his house or her house. I had favorite like neighbors and stuff, but I never attached like a romantic feeling to it or something, or like thought that up, I guess. But it's really adorable.
That's because
Like,
you grew up at the same area as us. If we wanted a fictional virtual girlfriend, we just pop in the VHS copy of Weird Science.
I don't know what that is, but
I'm
it was just super adorable the way these like 12-year-old kids were going on about it. It was just like, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend, girlfriend. Like I always get like, cause like that's what it is. I take care of her. Because you can get medicine for the characters when they're sick, and sometimes if you're really like good friends with them, they'll send you a picture of them, and it's like this whole thing.
Yep.
Like they have like photos of them on their desk. They have like letters from them like on their desk. They have like gifts from them to them, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a whole thing.
I don't know if it was the first one, but when I played Animal Crossing, when it was my first one, the one that came out first on GameCube, I loved that game. The reason I'm saying I don't know if that was the first one, it might have been an N64 one, but I can't remember it.
The first is on GameCube.
Yeah, I had played the first. I thought I had, but I wanted to cover my ass in case. Yeah, I like that. And I will say, Rick, something you may want to hold back on your high five. Assuming, I think we still got Rick. But, did I lose everyone?
I'm here.
Yay. No, we lost Ricky.
No.
I'll try typing to get his attention.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, okay, we have a Rick.
Yeah, sorry, it was like lagging really bad.
So you can ignore the Rick question mark. But yeah, it was a case of, I was going to say, you may want to hold back on your high five, Rick.
Uh-huh.
I will say I did not like Weird Science, the movie.
Did anyone, other than for the reason you were describing?
See, the reason I didn't like Weird Science, the movie, is a weird reason.
Mm-hmm.
Right when I was a teenager, and I had right at the beginning of me being a teenager and stuff, they had a channel over here called T for Trouble, and T, and it only shows T and then E and stuff. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things they showed there was Weird Science, the TV show. Weird Science. And I was like, oh my god, and I watched the TV show, I fucking loved it, and I watched the film, I'm like, I don't like these actors as opposed to the this doesn't feel like the show, and I'm like, I can't hate it for this, because I realised that this came out first, but at the same time, I'm like, I prefer the TV show. Which I wonder if people are like that, like, if kids today, after watching the new TV show Teen Wolf, if they went back and watched the Michael J. Fox film, would they go, this isn't like my show?
Yes.
But
it's probably as disappointing as you're thinking.
Yeah. I don't know if people would be like that. I find it weird when people are that way, but at the same time, that's like one of the few things I've been that way with.
Yeah.
But I do own that film on DVD because they didn't bring out the TV show.
Nice.
Weird Science. Which, FYI, Chet in Weird Science, the TV show, Rick, is in the TV show Oz. He was the dude the Jameson from Spider-Man chopped off his arm and of his daughter and sent it to him in the post.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw him as Jameson, I'll admit, a lot of people were like, oh my god, he's so good, and I do agree, he was good, but for the first couple of viewings of that film, I couldn't get past the fact in Oz I was so used to seeing him as like this neo-Nazi type. I miss Oz. I'm guessing by Pew's silence, she was probably like, "What? His daughter's hand was sent through the post." That's a really dark take on the Wizard of Oz.
Yo, cray cray.
I am cray cray. To our host.
All right, so my number 6 or number 2, whatever it is. I went with Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
Because I mean, besides making gore mainstream in a way, I'm pretty sure that's the reason the ESRB exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't ignore a game that basically, changed it, like the landscape that much for a seemingly, simple reason. Not like that. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but just, just like that's excessively bloody. That's pretty simple. And they're just like, wait, no, we can't have this. And
but I had that on SNES. There was hardly any blood.
I know they had that.
I'm kidding. We didn't own the SNES one. We owned the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, I had the Super Nintendo. Even I knew it was there, but it's like I didn't have a Genesis, so I'm like, I'm getting this version because it's the system I have.
Yeah, we got lucky because I had a Mega Drive, my brother had a SNES, and they were set up in the family room because back then no one had fucking TVs in their room.
I know, right?
And it was a case of we just shared consoles.
Nice.
And we loved games on both. I loved the Mega Drive or Genesis version of Aladdin a lot more than the SNES because he had a sword.
I'm not a Genesis fan by any stretch of the imagination. The Genesis one was way better than the Super Nintendo one. Like Aladdin on the Genesis was one of the best games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was back when this sounds weird as well to have to say back then. Who remembers buying Aladdin, the video game, and loving it?
I didn't buy it. My friend had it. But...
Who remembers the Lion King game where you could crouch down, go wow, wow, and it'd make insects roll upside down, and that freaking I can't wait to be king level. You had to jump on the animal's head, and how awesome it was.
I like that.
And who remembers PS2 era where if you saw it's based on a Disney game or a Disney film, you just wouldn't buy the game because the games were then shit with no effort.
Dude, I remember back when Nintendo, like Chippendale's Rescue Rangers and DuckTales, those were amazing games, and they were like nothing like the show, but they were just good games.
They were.
But yeah, I had to. I know I already had one fighting game on the list, but I was like, I can't ignore Mortal Kombat.
DuckTales, isn't that basically what Mega Man copied the engine of?
Yes.
Yeah, Victor's just like, yes. And then he's definitely going to kill me for Crackdown. Pretty sure if we ever meet up in real life one day, I'll be, oh, Mole, yeah? Whack, you'll punch me in my nose. What the fuck?
Well, that's what Jeff's going to do, apparently. He's going to kick our asses.
And pull out a whole fucking list and just start reading off offenses.
Like, that or the Crackdown one, I could let one slide. 2 is just too far.
Yeah. What the hell did you punch me in the nose for? That was for the following, and he goes through a list of like hating people who drink Pepsi, hating people who like peanut butter, Crackdown comment, Mega Man comment, the fact you bought a Kevin Owens t-shirt.
Let's be fair, if there was going to be a list, I would just snap my fingers and Jim would do it.
Jim, write me a list of why I should destroy you.
Yeah. Need to make him a superhero, and that's his thing. He can put anything in a list format.
Yes, he's like the mutant Forge, only less impressive.
Yes. But okay, so your last one, Mole.
I think I was just imagined him as the Watcher, if you were decided to write a list.
Yes.
Without the cosmic power. But my number one is the 1991 game Sonic the Hedgehog. I know, big shock. I put Sonic on my list, but the reason it launched Sega to be a competitor and one of, if not the most innovative companies, in my opinion, of all time. Like, you name something to do with gaming, and chances are it started on a Sega system. I even read Pure List about this the other day. Like, 3D gaming was on the Master System in 1982 when they released Sub Rock 3D, or whatever it was called, an arcade game that featured mounted pair of binoculars that the player looked through during gameplay. How awesome is that? They also tried stereoscopic, I believe that was the word, 3D gaming in the home market as well, with Sega 3D glasses for the Sega Master System. They also did game subscriptions, just like Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. They were on the Mega Drive in 1993. And I have wrote some of this down for people, which was called the Sega Channel, and was a subscription service that delivered games to players over coaxial cable that was used for their television. Which like they said here, hell, while we're at it, let's just give them credit for basically every major gaming internet too, because that was almost cable internet before cable internet was a thing.
Yeah.
And doing so granted access to a significant library of games, rotating in their availability for one monthly cost, which with inflation is $25 a month. That's pretty good, isn't it? At least in my opinion, it's like, that's pretty good. But I was like, I had to give them props for that, for the Sonic the Hedgehog. As much as I love Sonic, it did launch my favorite, or one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's not for launching Sonic, it's for launching Sega, which I feel Sega is the most innovative, or one of the most innovative console people of all time, or computer people as well, if you want to call them that, of all time. The only problem is, like I mentioned, 3D stuff, Master System. Game subscriptions that you can download, the games and stuff, Mega Drive. It's like, they keep coming up with great ideas, and they are really innovative. They're just like 3 fucking generations early, and thus no one cares about the technology.
I also blame hiring Bernie Staldorf or whatever that asshat's name is.
Yeah, it's like, if you want to give Sega props, they also did the first OS on a system. The original Xbox had one, but like I mentioned, Microsoft actually gave them the operating system for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So the Dreamcast had the first operating system. Awesome! They also did motion gaming first.
And or what was that thing? The Octagon thing?
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, they did loads of stuff first. I mean, if you want to be kind of technical, putting a screen in the controller first. Dreamcast.
VMUs were fucking awesome.
They were. I used to love downloading my little chow from the fucking Sonic Adventure and playing with it like a virtual pet while everyone watched TV. That's awesome.
Power Stone.
Yep, but if you want to be technical as well, you could argue that was the first off-screen play for a console. No, I'm not going to go that far. But at least, like I said, I feel Sega does need props, and one of these days, we need to do it in XGR just looking at Sega. The rise and fall of Sega. Or, the rise and fall of Sega! Yeah. Like, whenever I see Sega and stuff, I'm always like, I always want to hear the Sega! Like, I got annoyed, one of the Sonic games, can't remember which one, but it started and it was just Sega before it began. I'm like, the fuck did you just do? I think I might have been Sonic 06, and it was all downhill from that Sega.
That was your first. You just take it back to the store. What happened? He said Sega. And the guy just, like, if you get an employee that doesn't belong there, they're like, okay. But if you get with someone, they're like, oh!
Yeah.
Listen, Sega. And you're like, yep. And they're like, oh, I'll process this return immediately.
Yeah. Like to me, it goes Sega. Like it should go Resident Evil. I don't want to hear Sega or Resident Evil. No, that wouldn't work.
I want that now. All right. So, Pew, your last one.
Oh, wait, did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Did you have 7?
6. Which one is this? Yeah, I had 7, but I went Skyrim, Mario 3, Knights of the Republic. Oh yeah, I did have one because Legend of Zelda was the one
Oh.
I had. So that was my 7th one.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were missing one when you said, wait, I thought I had 7, not 6, but... Oh, okay, I see what you did there. I thought... Sorry, for a minute, I thought like we might have skipped you on one of the choices by mistake. My bad.
Nope. Okay. So my last one...
Mega Man.
There's some debate. I wanted to... Well, I picked Final Fantasy VII. Because I was trying to think, I want to put an RPG on the list, and... As much as, Final Fantasy 1 started it, I'll put that later. 7 is, for better or for worse, what made RPGs mainstream. Like before is, you had it, and some people knew it, but your average person didn't know what it is. Nowadays, everyone, like most gamers, pretty much will know Final Fantasy. Whether or not they play them, they know it. They know the name, and it's because 7. And a lot of them played 7. And then probably 8 and then stopped. But they know 7. There's a reason that Square, their plan C is remake of Final Fantasy 7 because they know that'll sell, and that sadly that they'll just keep that in their back pocket. That's their trump card basically of like, oh, if we need money really bad, we're gonna fold. We'll just announce that, and then everything will be fine for a few years. And I'm like, yeah, because why will that work? Because Final Fantasy 7. That's whether or not it's the best RPG, I don't think it is, but it's got to be one of the most famous, and it's, like I said, what I think made them not only a gamer recognized name, but also really put RPGs in the mainstream, that made it a genre that even people that played football at least know about now, instead of whether or not they play them or can read, no, but they at least know that they exist now because of that.
You don't think it might have been for the other RPG that was before it, everyone always discussed and couldn't wait to get to the playground to talk about, of Super Mario RPG? Oh wait, that wasn't that successful. I'm kidding with that just because I know no one ever remembers Super Mario RPG much. Some people do, but not everyone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was a damn good game. Wait, and I completely agree with what you said. After Final Fantasy VII, I don't like 7. I preferred 6, but but like you said, with 7, it put it on the fucking map, and it made it a household name. It's had since that came out, there was 2 Final Fantasy films. How many Final Fantasy films were there before 7?
0.
There was 1, and it was called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe because they lost the license. I'm kidding, because that film didn't have He-Man in its title. But I instantly should have told you this was going to be wrong.
It should have, but I was like, what, 8, 9 when that came out? I didn't know that then.
I agree. I was the same way. We own it on VHS, and when I was like, oh, now, in hindsight, it was a bad film. I'll admit at the time I kind of liked it, because I was like, He-Man, I just really wanted to mention Super Mario RPG. But
that is
like
a cool game.
Yeah, but like I said, Final Fantasy VII did make it mainstream. I feel like Super Mario RPG, they didn't advertise it nearly as much, to the point a lot of people don't remember it.
Yeah.
You're like,
well,
Super
I think
Mario
people
RPG, and they're like, you mean Paper Mario? I'm like, no!
Yeah.
It did give birth to Paper Mario, which I loved.
Which I've had that conversation with someone where I've said, oh yeah, I used to love Super Mario RPG. And they've been like, don't you mean Paper Mario? And I'm like, no, I mean Super Mario RPG. And they go, well, which one? I'm like, Super Mario RPG. It's its fucking title. And like, are you sure that's not the working title of Paper Mario? I wanted to chuck something at him.
And you let this person into your house.
You need to die now.
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. Our who we think should be in the next inductees into the Video Game Hall of Fame. Some great choices all around.
Other than that one with Legend of Zelda, we had all different ones.
No, me and Victor had Street Fighter.
Yeah, we both had Street Fighter 2 and Grand Theft Auto 3.
Okay. Yeah. That's like minimal amount of like same ones then.
Yeah, there was. There's 3 crossovers. Which is funny just because when we prepare for multiple crossovers, we get like none. It's like, oh, we get like 3, and it's really vague because it's like either me or Rick or you and Rick.
Yeah.
Like me and Pew had none of the same.
Yeah. Well, like when I was thinking, I was like Legend of Zelda. I was like, Pew's got to put that, but I still got to say it anyway. And like Street Fighter 2, I was like, if he doesn't put that, I would be very surprised.
And then you hear Mom say Street Fighter 1, and you're like, what?
Be like, you didn't know that was a thing. You'd be like, what? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'm just saying stuff. Street Fighter 1 is like Elder Scrolls 1 and 2. People like conceptually know it exists, but not many people have actually experienced them.
Yeah.
Like if you showed them a picture of Street Fighter 1, I guarantee they'd be like, who's that? And you'd be like, that's Ryu. And he doesn't have red hair. And you're just like, God damn. Like, I know he doesn't now. Like, where? And they put in the quarter, why can't I pick my character? Because you get him. Player 2 is Ken. They're like, I don't understand.
just like we've mentioned and we've been joking about in private, I'm pretty sure most of these people calling Witcher 3 the greatest game or greatest RPG of all time never played 2 or never played 1. One of the two. They either never played both of them or they never played just one.
Yeah.
I don't think many people exist that played all 3, because if they did, wouldn't the sales for the other 2 match the third one?
Yeah. It should. I imagine that there's some people doing it, but yeah, I imagine most of the people started on this one and they're like, yeah. They drink the Kool-Aid, buy the hype, whichever you want to say.
Yeah, like people keep saying like, oh my god, it's the greatest RPG trilogy of all time. And I'm like, really? How would the first one? And I've even seen someone go, well, I don't know. The third one was so good that the other 2 have to be this good, right?
It's like, then go play them and tell me.
And I'm just sat there thinking, that's not always the case. Series get better or worse, depending. Like, if you played Dragon Age Inquisition, the first Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2 are either going to feel better or worse, in my opinion, it would be worse, if you like that other game, just because they're so different.
Yeah.
Like, I feel Dragon Age 1 and 2 is much better than Dragon Age 3, but if you start with the third one, you're going to hate the other ones, probably.
True.
It's the same with lots of things. Like I mentioned with Weird Science. The first film, it's much worse. The film's worse than the TV show. And I know we've had this discussion before now. Or how many people I know are like, oh my god, the Ninja Turtles need different bandanas and a blimp. I'm like, no! You don't need a blimp. Well, why? I'm like, stealth! No! You're missing the point. Saying that would be the equivalent of playing Street Fighter Cross Tekken and now only wanting box art Mega Man. You're wrong. As much as I like to mention box art Mega Man, but Victor knows that's more to that. But as Victor knows, that's more to basically insult him a little bit.
Yeah.
Or to make fun with Richter. I'd call it make fun because it's not really insulting him because he knows I'm joking.
It's how you troll me.
No, how I troll you would be like if I posted a link right now of new Mega Man announced, and that's all it's called, and Rick's like, yay, and he clicks it, and it's Mega Space Man, or Mega Man as one word, whichever one they haven't copyrighted. It's a completely different game.
I'd know it was fake, though, because I'd be like, new Mega Man. You almost got me. It's Capcom.
I feel they're going to make one. With all the releases of the current stuff, or with that re-release news I showed you, and with him in Smash Brothers, and a new Mega Man cartoon coming out, they're going to make a new game. They'd be fucking idiots if they don't. And I'm not saying Capcom's intelligent, but they're at least intelligent when it comes to money. And I feel like if a Mega Man game I feel like if Mega Man cartoon's on the market, kids will want to play a game.
Yeah.
So you might get the Mega Man style game that's like our Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Rick just wept. I heard him weep. Although Sonic Boom is...
I don't know. You're the one that reported that their business model is to re-release old stuff, so I don't know if they're gonna make anything new.
Yeah, they said their business model goes The business model going forward was to concentrate on some re-releases to get funds back. Then once they got funds, they can make new ones like Street Fighter 5. Yay! Sorry, I mean fuck Sony because it's not on a it's on a different system. It's not all the systems.
If I did that, oh wait, no, he's gonna be in the Nintendo one. Damn it, never mind. If our special guest was there that was gonna complain about the exclusive, if I complained about the exclusives, do you think they would get the irony? Probably not. Anyway,
You should do. You need to complain that Legend of Zelda isn't on Xbox One. Because imagine how much awesome Legend of Zelda would be if it could use Project Spark to create dungeons. Is it wrong? I'm totally going to want to buy Project Spark.
I totally want that too.
good news. You don't have to buy it. It's a free download.
It is a free download, but there's a disc version that's paid for and it comes with a load of DLC content.
Yeah. It's not really. Well, the disc just has the install for it, so you don't even need the disc.
Oh, I thought it also had all the DLCs. I was like,
it's a code. It's the DLC's a code.
no,
why
would they do that?
I like the game because that's what they do. I don't know.
That means if you bought it used, you're paying money for something you can't. If it's free.
Exactly, dude. They still sell used copies of Defiance. It's on. I'll just leave that there.
Oh, that is true. It's like when I saw on the PlayStation Store massive sale, and one of the games on there was Lord of the Rings, Guardians of Middle-earth. I'm like, fuck you! As someone that's bought that game, I know there's no point to buying that. Fuck you! You know the servers are closed down too, and you're like, no sale. Yeah, it's a sale because you can't work it anymore. Be like if shops did that. Oh, we got a massive sale on. It's like Black Friday, and you go in there. It's just like a toaster with like a fork stuck in it. But yeah, I believe Victor was taking us out.
Yes, I was. All right, so there you have it. Our nominees for next year or future years of the Video Game Hall of Fame. Some good choices all around. So if anyone listening has your own list or disagree with one of our choices or think you have a better one or would just like to gym it up and write a list of your 7, please feel free to do so. We're interested to see what ones you would want in there. So thank you for joining us tonight, and please join us again next week for our E3 coverage where we have special guests for all the days.
For videos.
Featuring XPound favorite, the Crispy, and on the Microsoft one that is Wednesday? Yes.
I believe that's Wednesday. That's
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, I think Wednesday was the one you could definitely do.
Yeah.
So that'll be Wednesday. So we kick it off with the Crispy on XGR, and then we move on to 3 others with miscellaneous guests.
Yay!
Yeah, they don't get mentioned.
And they have their own shows. We don't care. All right, thank you very much for listening, and good night.